Freedom, man. That's what it's all about. You've got to groove on freedom like the good book says.
Welcome. You are listening to What on Earth is Happening. This show will discuss the topics of human consciousness, mind control, natural law, the occult, and all issues that affect the freedom of the people of Earth. What on Earth is Happening will endeavor to shine light upon the darkness of our world and to offer empowering solutions to the problems we face as humanity approaches its critical moment of choice. And now, here is your host, Mark Passio.
Welcome one and all. You're watching What on Earth is Happening. I'm your host, Mark Passio. My website, whatonearthishappening.com. Ladies and gentlemen, government is slavery. Always has been, is now, and always will be until we decide to end it. Welcome and thank you for tuning in today. Today is Sunday, June 2nd. 2024. This is episode number 292 of What on Earth is Happening. And here on What on Earth is Happening, we are ending slavery one mind at a time. We have a great show lined up. We're going to be continuing the Unholy Feminine extended presentation. This is part 14 of this ongoing series that will probably ride out the season of What on Earth is Happening. And possibly the entirety of the What on Earth is Happening podcast. I am still looking at what I want to do with my future endeavors and whether there will be a What on Earth is Happening show next year. I feel like this show has run its course. I've taught people what I needed to teach them, and very, very, very infinitesimally few listened. I went from being one of the more popular people within the freedom movement to being almost universally hated within this movement, because I went from telling people for far too long the methodologies of mind control that are used against the populace. And then I transitioned to explaining to people that they have to be strong enough to rise up against mind control and bullshit religious distorted thinking. And in being extremely harsh and judgmental against the very population that should know more and should know better than the rest of the population, everybody brought in their bullshit religious baggage with them. And as soon as I touched on their religious beliefs, then I'm the bad guy and I'm some kind of a demon, because I'm telling you, you're not changing sufficiently to actually change the dynamic of the world from tyranny to freedom, because that's internal work. I'm going to say a lot about where I think the people who listen to this show are heading, because they listen but they don't hear. They are not really understanding what's being said on What on Earth is Happening. And again, What on Earth is Happening is a show of cumulative information, by which what I am talking about on the most recent episodes, for that material to be able to be understood and processed by an average human being with average level intelligence, which is most people, you must receive first the initial knowledge on the older episodes of the podcast. So you have to listen in order. This is like a class that you can't go into the last class and expect to understand without all of the prerequisite knowledge being explained to you from all of the previous classes. And people still don't understand this about my show. This isn't a one-off show. This isn't a show that a newcomer should come to and listen to this episode and think that they're going to garner anything useful out of it. You're not. Because you're not smart enough, because you don't have the information from the previous episodes. And yes, that is how it works. And no, you're not an exception to that rule. You want to believe that you're an exception because you display the Dunning-Kruger effect and you actually think you're smarter than you are. And I can go into the last class of a college seminar and understand everything and all the complexities and intricacies of what the professor is talking about when I've not received one iota of the previous knowledge that was talked about for perhaps years in advance, and in this case, definitely years. I've been doing this for 17 years, and I feel like the viewing and listening audience has not done any growing. They have not done any significant change. Such a tiny portion of them have done any significant growth and change that it's a laughable, completely ridiculous effort that could not possibly change anything in this world for the better. And that's because we're working with shit for starting material. Let's face it. Just about every human being is a piece of garbage that brings all of their pre-existing religious beliefs into anything new that they encounter. And because they bring all of their bullshit baggage into any new encounter, they never really approach it as a new, fresh relationship and a new, fresh ground for learning and change. And infinitesimally small people do that, and I am going to have to begin the process of separating that infinitesimally small group and only talking to them. I feel like I really have been encountering what all of the occultists of old talked about, that the truth is pearls cast before swine, pig trash. And I don't want to believe that that's true, because I definitively know that it is true that everybody is capable of changing. The capacity for change lies within all of us. But we have had such a number done on us that almost every human being, especially all the people within the truth movement who are some of the biggest scumbags on this planet, will never change. You're too an ego, and the Dunning-Kruger effect has you. It possesses you. It owns you. And you can't even hear when I tell you what my anger and frustration reason is. You can't hear it. You invent your own. I'm telling you openly, and you're trying to psychoanalyze me. Don't quit your day job. You'd be miserable fucking failures at psychology. You don't know enough about the human psyche. You don't know me at all. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're just dumb dunces without enough information who believe you know something when you don't. That's the only truth that there is about almost everybody in this movement. You're dumb people who believe that you're smart people. You won't listen to actual smart people because you've brought all of your religious baggage into this movement with you, and therefore there is no room for growth and change. You're hardened Satanists in your own mind, and then you want to point the finger outside of yourself to someone who has done the shadow work upon themselves to learn, grow, and change. And I'm simply incredulous. I can't believe what a number the dark occultists did upon your psyche, that you're absolutely incapable of change, and you're so calcified in your own satanic ego. And I have every right to be angry and pissed off about that, because your lack of growth, your lack of movement, your lack of spiritual progression holds me and other people who have actually done the shadow work to change themselves. You're holding us back by your stupidity. You're devastating human freedom. You're giving the planet to your own enslavers who are laughing their asses off at you for enslaving yourselves and everybody else through your ignorance, through your apathy, through your incompetence. through your Dunning-Kruger stupidity. And you want to point the finger external to yourself. And then you want to claim that I'm doing that. No, I'm not. I've already cleaned up my internal house. My level of frustration is exactly what I'm telling you it is. Don't psychoanalyze it and say it's because a member of my family passed away or a loved one passed away. That is not my reason for anger and frustration in the modern day we are living in. It is because there is almost zero, completely negligible spiritual movement forward, and tyranny continues to march on completely unhindered and unchallenged because of the people in the freedom movement and how fucked up you are. You're the ones who haven't learned and grown and changed yourselves internally. You're the ones who point fingers externally. I'm trying to show people how the very people who pay lip service to freedom, who say they want freedom, that all they've done is externalize their power and they haven't done any real inner work and growth and changing upon themselves because they have believed all untrue things and they've stayed attached to those distortions in their thought process, which are religions. Regardless of what you call them, that is the only problem with the world, is religious thought. And religious thought means you believe in authority. Religious thought means you don't think that you need to grow and change. You think it's all pointing the finger externally. Religious thought is you believe the government's legitimate. Religious thought is you're attached to money like a fucking asshole. Religious thought is you believe the body of other people belong to you. Religious thought is you believe the body of other beings belong to you, like animals. And that's why you're in a state of cyclical enslavement. It's universal, cosmic, occult law. You're never going to break it. You're never going to skirt it. You're placing the chains upon yourself. And you're butthurt losers because I've been telling you that you're the problem instead of saying, like I was previous in my earlier work, that external factors of mind control are the real problem. External factors of mind control are an ancillary problem. The primary problem is your distorted thinking and continuing to bring untruths with you in your so-called journey toward truth and freedom. And that is why you make no progress, because you're weighed down by the heavy baggage of distortions in your own thinking process. And then you want to point the finger at me and say somehow any of the problem with what's going on in the world regarding tyranny and regarding the continuation of injustice and regarding the continuation of corruption and stupidity and apathy and laziness has anything to do with Mark Passio, because you're butthurt losers who have done no work upon yourself. And you're still believing bullshit lies, and you're religiously, fervently attached to your bullshit baggage. That's the real truth of the matter, and that's why my popularity is waning, because I don't give a shit about followers and money. I speak the truth even if it hurts other people's feelings. Fuck your feelings. You're in a state of wrongness in how you think, the vast majority of you. If that's not actually true for you, you have no reason to be offended or butthurt. The reason that people are butthurt is because what I'm saying cuts so close to the bone. It cuts to the core of their bullshit inside of themselves that they don't want to confront and do work upon. And that's the forever truth. That's the forever truth of the matter, ladies and gentlemen. I can say it super angrily. I could say it super calmly. I could say it at a whisper. I could say it at a shout. You're the problem if you believe the way someone says something has anything to do with its truthfulness. I've spoken the truth. No one can argue with anything that I've said because I'm not incorrect. And that's what matters, is actually garnering the truth of what is going on in creation and learning the universal laws of this entire realm of existence. And that's why it's so important to engage the truth via the trivium process of truth discovery and to get it right. Being correct is what truly matters, because being factually correct is what leads one's behavior into moral correctness. If you are factually incorrect, almost all the time your behavior goes into moral incorrectness and displays immorality against objective morality and against natural law of the universe. And that's where most of the people in the freedom movement still are. They're either people who still believe in government. They're either selfish pricks who only give a shit about money and prosperity. There are people who only care about their creature comfort and want to run away from a challenge and a problem and go live as remote as possible and not actually engage the dynamic of consciousness, of distortion in consciousness here on the ground level on Earth. There are people who want to believe the bodies of other beings belong to them to do as they please with and not even engage the truth of that matter. See, I'm going to do probably sometime early next year, because I don't think I'm coming back on What on Earth is Happening early next year. I think this is the last season. I told people when I began the video podcast format that I would probably do about 5 more years of content, and that's what I did. I did 5 years. Perhaps, I don't know if it's 6. I did 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 6 years of content that I did, okay? And I think it has run its course. I'm heavily leaning toward, let me look at my calendar real quick, and I'll just let people know. And many people will be exceedingly happy about this. Who gives a shit? I could care less what you think, because most of you are complete human vermin. And I'm not quitting because of you, losers. I'm not quitting. I'm transitioning my effort toward the higher thinkers within this community instead of the garbage within this community, instead of people who can't think and won't think. And I will make my work rise to completely new heights that are going to do far more and better things than up to this point What on Earth is Happening ever has. So I'm cutting loose the dead weight is what I'm doing, and there will no longer be anything given for free on What on Earth is Happening. That's number one. There will be no free items. Everything will be something that someone has to contribute resources for. And if you think that's non-spiritual, go fuck yourself. It isn't. I've given tons of free content over the years. I've given all my content for free over the years. That's stopping, number one. Okay, I'm going to start holding exclusive content longer, more likely than not for a full year. And then I will eventually release it for free. But I'm going to put all new content in my gifts area for 1 year instead of 90 days. That's number two. There will be a long form all-day presentation. More likely than not, it will be an all-day event hosted on Telegram. It will be a virtual conference. It will be only me. There will be no other speakers. I will charge for the event. It will be a private donation to attend and be in the Telegram room to watch it live in real time. There will be a Q&A session following it, and it will probably be at least an 8 to 10 hour event. Okay, something to that effect. And I believe, and I'm just kicking around ideas, I have lots of ideas, I'm going to do one on all of the distortions in thought that have murdered human freedom over the years. Every form of thought distortion. And this is all going to be about worldview. The whole presentation, I haven't named it formally yet, but it's going to be about how a poisoned worldview regarding ontology, epistemology, knowledge gathering, and most of all, human nature, what it is and what it is not, has completely devastated humanity's ability to think at all. That's going to be an all-day presentation. I haven't, again, titled that yet. Another one that I'm going to give in the near future is going to be on deep, real shadow work. Not New Age bullshit shadow work, but it's going to be on, quite frankly, it's going to be the Passio method of shadow work. I have developed and will coin my own method of shadow work, which I'm going to call the AAA method. Passio's AAA shadow work methodology. And it's going to be the greatest reveal of how to do real shadow work that has ever been presented in the history of humanity, garnered from the deepest elements of all occult mystery traditions that have ever been taught, synthesized by me and then taught privately. And that's going to be one way that What on Earth is Happening transitions away from giving things to dumb lard asses who actually believe they own other beings. You're trash. I can say it really calmly. I could scream it in your face. You're just garbage people who had garbage parenting. That's what it is. You're low lives who had low lives for parents. And I'll say it nice and calm to you. Will that make any difference in the truthfulness of it? Whether I scream it, whether I fucking say it in a completely rageful way? What if I whisper it like this? If I do the whole show like this and a whisper and I tell you you're still low-life scumbags who didn't learn a fucking thing and brought all your religious baggage, thought-form distortions into the truth freedom movements with you, and that's why you're making no progress, losers. Would that matter? Would that change everything if I just did the show and whisper like this? Because all you can hear is the vibratory energy of my speech, and you can't hear the words that I'm saying because you're too dumb. Is that better, losers? That whole show, assholes. You're clowns. That's why you didn't learn anything, because you're shit clown, trash apes. So I can whisper it to you and then it's okay. Whisper it to you with a nice big shitting grin on my face, like you guys are. It's clowns, you're low-life fuck clowns, and you don't know a fucking thing about yourselves, and you don't know a fucking thing about the laws of the universe, and that's why you're losing, losers. Does that matter? Does that make a difference? Does that help? Does that help the little fucking babies out there? Right? We can say it at a nice little whisper with a shit-eating grin on our face, right? That changes the whole dynamic to all the little fucking loser babies out there, doesn't it? I'll just put a shit-eating smile on my face and talk like this to everybody like you're a stupid fucking child that I know you are. We'll just do it like that, right? And then it's okay because the vibration coming out of me is fluffy and wonderful like all the other loser assholes out there that you listen to, right? That changes the entire thing about Mark Passio, doesn't it? Because we can just say it all really nice and bubbly to everybody with a shit-eating grin on our face, and then that changes the whole dynamic to the little fucktarded babies out there who are now willing to listen because it's being said so pleasantly. You guys are fucking losers. You're just babified trash losers. I'm going to say it real calm to you. You didn't grow up. You had garbage for parents. It's an ad hominem attack, so fucking what? It's still true. You can't hear that. You can't understand. Ad hominem attacks sometimes are true. What matters is whether they're false and trying to dissuade somebody from actually looking at a dynamic that is true. Then it's an ad hominem that's false. There are ad hominems against people that the truth is absolutely being said in the vitriolic attack that is launched against them, and you still don't understand that. You don't understand that it doesn't matter the vibratory energy of words coming out of someone's mouth. That's meaningless. All that matters is whether they are true or false. And you're at such a low level of consciousness that you believe the way something is said trumps what is being said and the truthfulness of it. And that's why you're losers. That's one of the biggest reasons that you're losers. And you're losing your freedom. You're going to continue to lose the war for freedom. The war for freedom will be lost, because people won't listen to wise people. They listen to garbage like this. I don't even care what his fucking name is. He's so unimpressive, and it's such garbage that his name isn't worth remembering. This guy that Joe Rogan had on that got like 7 million views in a couple of days, who just talked nonsense, psychobabble, spiritual psychobabble, pretending that he's some kind of a wise individual. And he said zero. He said nothing. He didn't even say an idea. and other people are like bowing down to this person like he's said something special because he made you think that he knows a lot more than you do, when you won't listen to what I'm telling you about the lack of development upon your own soul. I don't care about his name. It doesn't matter one shit. My producer's trying to tell me who he is. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're saying that we don't even know if the whispering came through because. Okay. All right.
The noise gate popped in.
Okay. No problem. So I thought you were trying to tell me a guy's name who I can't remember because it isn't worth remembering. So, this is who big social influencers, and again, I don't really care about them either. It's their funeral. They don't want to really put the truth on because the truth is destructive and offensive and subtractive. The truth is not an additive process, as I talked about last week in the early part of the show. The truth is a destructive and subtractive process that when you do the shadow work to really understand where all your own distortions in thought came from and why you continue to hold on to them, it doesn't mean that you purge all anger from your system. This is another thing that New Age bullshitters want to believe that shadow work is because they've never done real shadow work, and the only place they've ever heard about shadow work was from the New Age community, of the very few people within that community that do address it at all, if they ever do. They don't know what occult shadow work is. Zero. You know zero about what occult shadow work. If you believe occult shadow work purges anger from your personality, especially good, righteous anger that people should have. The problem is not that Mark Passio is as angry as he is about other people not making spiritual progress and really truly moving the truth and freedom movements forward. That is not where the problem lies. That is not what you should be addressing, ladies and gentlemen. The problem lies in the fact that most people have no righteous anger inside of them and don't care about all of the continuing injustices and corruption that exist in our world and are perfectly content to remain totally calm, non-angry, apathetic, not knowledgeable, not caring enough, not taking no real action to expose the truth, and tyranny completely is conquering the world as a result. That's the problem. The problem is that not that Mark Passio is angry and people saying he needs to do more shadow work upon himself. Look, folks, the only problem with my anger is that it could potentially raise my blood pressure to the point where my health is affected. That's the only problem with it. What I've said to people, I take zero of it back. Every word of it was true and still remains true and still is true to this millisecond. And if you don't understand that, there's something seriously broken inside of you. I haven't been telling anybody anything that is false. I've been saying extremely vitriolic, harsh things to people that remain true. I'm not incorrect. You're incorrect if you think that shadow work is supposed to purge anger. Righteous indignation is not supposed to be purged within an individual. And you guys can't hear that because there's too much New Age and religious shit in your ears. You have shit in your ears and in between them that you won't clean out. You won't do the cleaning in your own house. And you want to think that you can understand the dynamics that are going to generate real freedom. And I'm laughing at you, and more importantly, your owners and masters are laughing hilariously and hysterically at you. Because you believe you're going to not change at all and bring all your distorted thinking into a movement for freedom, and you're going to succeed. You are garbage people. You're not good people. You're bad people. And you're garbage that came from other garbage, distorted thinking people called your parents who didn't teach you anything, and the rest of the community continues to refuse to teach you anything. All the voices of the liars and deceivers have reached your shit for brains in the middle of your skull, and the voice of the truth and of the real truth speakers of the world has not reached your mindset because there's too few of them and their efforts are too poor. I've made colossal, unparalleled, and unequaled efforts in attempting to bring the truth to the average human being and to attempt to bring the truth about the dynamic that's really going to generate freedom to the very truth and freedom communities. You guys are scumbags who will never listen. And I'm not going to continue to do what the occultists told me I would do, beat my head against the wall. I'm going to reformulate a different strategy, and you guys are going to be insulated from hearing the words of my wisdom. But that doesn't mean I will not continue to speak wisdom into the world. I will continue to speak wisdom into the world through the separation of the wheat from the chaff. And only the people who really, truly want the information badly enough to show that they want the information badly enough will receive any more information from me. You can receive it from whoever else you wish to get it from. I'll continue to offer the Ark, but none of my work is going out for free anymore. That's number one. Number two, it's going to be all online through Telegram from here on out. And there will be a charge of a private donation to receive it. So I will have lengthy all-day seminars either once or twice a year, depending on how much I want to pump out new presentations, new seminars, and they will all be on Telegram going forward from the year 2025 on. If I see significant improvements in the freedom community, maybe I'll come back on the live airwaves at some point in time. But the effort to just do a podcast is not really worth the effort. I find that it's more aggravation than it is worth, and the people in this movement are such trash that I understand why your enslavers want to enslave you and keep you in a cage locked up like a fucking dirt animal, because that's what you are. And I'll start saying it very calmly and dispassionately. Let me work on saying things like a robot, because that's what you guys are. You're trash robots. So I'll speak to you like the trash robots that you are. You've done nothing. You haven't put any effort into the whole project of freeing humanity. You don't have any skin in the game. You've not sacrificed anything. You've not sacrificed your own time. You've not sacrificed your own resources. For the people who have become content creators and have sacrificed these things, I praise you, I commend you, and I consider you a peer of mine. Thank you for your effort and your true service and dedication to the truth. You see, the people who have done that have no reason to get offended by my words. The people who haven't, you're the trash that I'm referring to and talking about. I'm not talking about the people who have made a genuine, sincere effort. Let's say it even more dispassionately. Let's say it with no emotion in one's voice. That's what people will listen to, because they're emotionless trash themselves, who have no ability to get passionate, who have no ability to become angry, who have no ability to deeply care because their heart is broken inside. That's how you want people talking to you, like the robot that you are. And then you're not offended. And then your butthurt feelings can't get, your feels can't get butthurt, you know? It's amazing to me. I really have to say to all of the dark occultists and social engineers of this entire planet, you guys are geniuses. You're absolutely amazing at what you do. It's incredible. It's stupendous, and it's unfathomably amazing. I never would have dreamed that it was possible for you to distort people's minds into the forms that you have distorted them. But you are true masters at your art form, at your dark arts. You're true masters. And I'm humbled to even share the planet with such masters at your craft. I don't harbor ill will or resentment against you. I harbor ill will and resentment at all the people who pay lip service to freedom and want no part in understanding what actually creates it. They're the trash of the world, not the social engineers, not the dark occultists. It's very difficult for people of a low-brow consciousness and low lives who don't really understand what's really taking place around them to understand what I just spoke. You can't even comprehend what I just said because you're essentially retarded morons. And you believe your own religious garbage instead of hearing the wisdom of someone who knows how it really works. I know how it really works. I've been telling people how it works for 17 years. I've been telling you the strategies and the formulations of your master's plans because I was inside those halls of real power that work upon the human mind. I've played all of the things that people need to know. I've done all kinds of presentations and seminars to get the knowledge of what people need to know into their mindset, and they've completely rejected and refused the truth. So I will not become what the Satanists told me would happen to the rest of my life. I will reach the people who are worth reaching and build vertical integration. And I will viciously and vehemently cut loose all of the people who took nothing seriously. And that's the problem with this whole movement. It's entertainment to you losers. You're not serious. You're jokes. You're pranksters and jokesters. And I mean, you're fucking pranksters like a street thug would tell you. You're a fucking prankster, boy. You know, that's it. You're a prankster fucking clown. I'll say it to your face. You know nothing, and you think you know, and that's the Dunning-Kruger effect at work. So let me just tell people, my last show will be June 23rd. I'm not going to do a show the week before the seminar goes live. Very appropriate that we'll go out on the 23rd, okay? The number that means getting out of mind control. And this is me getting out of a situation that no longer works. There's no longer a true relationship between me and the so-called freedom community. The freedom community doesn't have a relationship with the creator of the universe. That's why it can never have a relationship with me. You don't understand what a relationship with the creator of the universe means. You believe it takes the form of some new agey bullshit meditative person with no emotion that has purged all passion out of their lives, out of their personality. And that's why you're a religious fucktard. You're a religiously deceived fucktard. You believe the bullshit that the New Age religion told you about what an enlightened being looks like. An enlightened being can look like a person raging at other people's ignorance. And you're too stupid to understand that because you're little children that never grew up and never learned real streetwise spirituality. You never learned people don't have the right to digitally harass a public figure and try to force their opinions on them and try to force them to engage with them. I have freedom of association. I'm allowed to say, you're not worthy, and I'm not going to give you a second of my time. I don't need to qualify that. I will determine who is allowed to receive my time and attention. You're not the determiner of that. I don't force my ideas onto other people's social media. I don't force my ideas into their inbox, in their email, or on their DMs, or on their social media platforms. I don't text people. I don't text bomb them. Okay? I don't proselytize what I do at What on Earth is Happening. I speak it out in a public forum and leave it at that. And if I can, I even disable comments because commenting by dumb dullards weakens the message and distorts it with their distorted bullshit religious thought. I don't want my message diluted and polluted by other people's shit spew. That's what you guys do. You spew shit out of your mouth that is all religious, dogmatic nonsense. I've destroyed all of the religious thought in my mind and my makeup and my psyche. I don't have religions. I hear people saying, Passio is this religious vegan. I have no religion. I understand what the truth of morality under the laws of creation are, and that's not a religion, that's scientific understanding. I'm a cutting-edge scientist. I have a scientifically working mind that's based in logic. Can I get angry? Yes. No, why? No scientist can get angry? What if a scientist, a top-tier scientist, is trying to communicate his findings that he has verified endlessly are true, accurate, and work, but the community won't listen to him because there's tons and tons of money to be lost by this new discovery? He has no right to get angry? If he's screaming at them, you're destroying the world by continuing to take money and do this very harmful thing, and you won't listen to a new discovery that can get rid of all that shit, and you don't want to get rid of it because you're a moral trash who's attached to your religion called money? That scientist has no right to be completely angry about that, even up to the point of being ragefully angry. See, you guys don't think logically. You think with your emotions. You hear the vibratory energy of someone yelling, and you immediately think, that person can't be true. That person can't be saying anything that's true. He can't be right. He has to be somehow distorted himself, because you don't know how to think. You don't have the trivium in hand. You don't understand the truth discovery methodology. All you do is think with your babyfied feelings, because that's all your trash for parents taught you, or your trash for teachers taught you, or your trash for clergy taught you. You were distorted by trash vermin laughingly calling themselves people. And then they made you into a piece of trash vermin with all of the distorted thought that they injected into your garbage brain. And you've done no work to purge that. And you don't know what it even looks like to do the work to purge that. You've brought all your bullshit baggage in with you, and that's why there's no progress. And I am not going to talk to people like that anymore, and you will not force me to pay attention to any of you. I am allowed to pay attention and associate with and interact with who I wish. Trying to force another human being to interact with you through digital harassment is stalking. It is coercion. It is the attempted theft of my free will. It is coercion. It is a wrong under natural law that is actionable. And you guys don't understand that because you do not understand natural law and objective morality. And you're not even hearing me when I'm saying what's been happening to me. I'm not angry because my father passed away. Well, that isn't entirely true. That's not the source for my rage on air. I've done the work to deal with the fact that he was unfortunately an ignorant person in his later life that bought into the whole COVID-19 bullshit psyop and insisted upon taking all of the poison that they wanted to inject into everybody. And yes, he had other health issues throughout his life, but even with pre-existing conditions in the past, people did not get turbo cancer that progressed at the unbelievably fast rates that they are now with these incredibly poisonous mRNA injections that have completely devastated the immune systems of the population of this planet and continue to. So, yes, I have a little bit of a problem with that, but that's not the source of my frustration and rage on recent episodes of What on Earth is Happening. It is because people presume to know what's going on in my life who don't know me. And I'm telling you the reason. Don't try to psychoanalyze and say it's because of these other things. I'm telling you openly and honestly why I've been angry. Imagine if your life companion animal that you loved more than life itself suddenly passed away, and you're very, very distraught over it, and people are coming up to you, seeing you being distraught and crying and not feeling well, and saying, it's because you eat meat, loser. I don't care whether you eat meat or not. I don't care whether you eat plant-based or not. I don't care whether you're a vegetarian or not. I've said this a billion times. I don't harp on that. I'm not a militant plant-based eater. I do it for the true moral reason, and that's shadow work that others won't do. They will not sit and acknowledge the first step. Acknowledge what is true. Forget anything else. Does the body of another being belong to you or not? Say, The phrase, the body of another being belongs to me. That is true. Say that to yourself. And then don't call bullshit on yourself. You actually believe that that's not a bullshit statement? Let me do it. I'll do it. The body of other beings in this world belong to me to do as I please with. Do you see how much bullshit that sounds like? And what you guys do, and once again, I'm just trying to explain why I'm angry. And it's not because of people not being vegan. That's not why. I said many times, I talk about the moral implications. I'm not forcing it on anybody. I sit with people eating meat all the time. I don't make any judgments against them. I know whether the behavior is moral or not. They should know whether the behavior is moral or not, but you do not want to accept the truth regarding it. And the only truth is that you don't own the body of any other being but yourself. You'll never make that untrue. You can say that that's incorrect from now until the end of the universe, and it will never be true. It will always be true that the only body that an individual ever owns is their own, and that anything other than that is slavery and constitutes slavery and the condoning of slavery, period. It will never be untrue. And if you say that that is untrue, that's a shitting upon the truth. It's not just shitting on my work. You're just shitting upon the truth of the Creator. You want to believe you can distort the truth into what your religion in your own mind projects and says is true. And what that is satanic thought. You're in the satanic mind as a result of saying the phrase, the body of other beings is my property, which is what anything that claims that an animal is your property is doing. It's a satanic thought process. So, I was not angry because of that, ladies and gentlemen, dumb coughs and dumb fucks out there. I was angry because people were saying that the reason I wasn't on the air because I felt distraught over my father's dying and then subsequent death was because I am somehow ill from being vegan. And I've told people, if you want to challenge my strength and wellness, step to me and find out how well and strong I am. And guess what? I don't care if you think that's immoral for challenging somebody. You want to believe I'm somehow sick or unwell and I don't have incredible vitality and strength? Challenge it. Challenge it and find out what will happen. It won't end up well for you. And I'm not saying I could beat every single fighter in the world. I'm not making that claim because it's not going to be a matter of fighting somebody. I want to be left alone from proselytizers of religion. I'm not a proselytizer of religion. I'm saying statements of fact and truth. It is not trying to force distorted thinking down someone else's throat because my thinking is not distorted. It's based on moral truth. It's based on the reality of the cosmos. It's based on the reality of the laws of the Creator. It's based on true objective reality and first principles of goodness. And it's unchallengeable. It will never not be true. The people who want to challenge that are in a satanic mind that they don't want to come out of because they want to justify their current behavior that is immoral. And I'm not telling you you need to undo that behavior instantaneously. I've said it before. The behavior that really needs to be undone instantaneously is the belief that authority can ever somehow be moral and that it is somehow not based in violence and coercion and duress. That is an instantaneous change. A dietary procedure that one has addicted themselves to during the course of their entire lives is not something that should be changed immediately. And the people who insist that it isn't possible for everyone are incorrect. You're not a biologist. You're not a person who knows the truth about how the body works. Every human body is capable of transitioning away from carnism. Everyone, that is eternally, universally true. There is no individual. It is proven scientifically that no individual requires dead animal flesh in their body. It is not nutrition. It is a source of toxicity and inflammation. And when people's inflammation goes away through burning some excess fat, then people say they're somehow ill or unhealthy. They don't even know what health is or looks like because they have religious disease in between their ears, and they will not come out of their religiously distorted way of immoral thinking. That's true. But again, that's not why I'm upset. I'm upset because people were saying the reason that I was not well enough to be on air for a few weeks was because of my dietary choice based on moral grounds. You are incorrect. You don't have the information in hand, and you should cease to talk shit when you don't know. Leave shit talking up to people who know. Stop talking shit when you don't have the correct information in hand. You don't even have the grammar stage of the trivium in hand, let alone have you analyzed the information and understood it properly, let alone are you doing the right thing with it. It's the complete absence of the trivium. You don't know because you don't have the grammar. You don't have the data. You don't understand because you haven't processed the data, and you can't possibly do anything good or right with the data because you never had it to begin with. That's what ignorance is, and that's what almost all you guys are. You've never really looked at anything. You've listened with entertainment for entertainment value is what almost all of you have done, with tiny few exception to the rule. 99.9% of you have not garnered the data at all because you've listened with a closed mind and you've listened with hardened, fervorous religious zeal. And that means you've closed your mind to the truth and to understanding and to wisdom, and you have dedicated to not changing yourself from the get-go. And we're going to get into that on this podcast. So let's do some housekeeping and then get back to why people aren't changing. Then I'm going to go into some slides from the Unholy Feminine Revisited. And this is what we're going to do until the show ends on the last show on June 23rd. Okay? It's going to be hammering uncomfortable truths and what your shadow work needs to be into you. And I will attempt to do it with a calmer voice, but it will still be vitriolic and nasty to people from a perspective that I really don't have respect for you. I really don't have respect for the people who already haven't understood this a long time ago. You had endless amounts of time to get it. You could get it through all of the podcasts that I've ever done if you listen to them in order. Most of you won't do that. You're idiots listening for the first time today and not hearing what I'm saying because you have shit in your ears, and you're not hearing that you got to get all the other data that I've given you in all other 291 podcasts, but you want to still listen and think you're going to understand what I'm saying. You can't possibly understand what I'm saying. We haven't connected even with the same language. I'm speaking a foreign language to most people. You can't possibly hear or comprehend what I'm saying. It sounds like something different to you than what it is because your thoughts are so distorted and religiosified. They're caught in a stage of religiously induced calcification, and you don't even understand what that means. We're speaking a different language, you and I. Almost all of you out there watching. You're not speaking the same language as me. You can't comprehend the language that I speak because it's the language of truth. It's the language of veritas. It's the language of morality, not justification for bad behavior, which is the only language you guys speak. You speak the language of justification for bad behavior. You don't speak the language of truth and acknowledgement of truth. That's the problem with your mindset. You're stuck in a satanic way of thinking and being in the world. And that's why I have to cut a lot of people loose, a whole lot. So I'm going to be interacting far less than I am now, and I'm not interacting very much with people at all these days, and I'm going to interact even less with people, and no one will force interaction upon me. I don't attempt to force interaction upon others. I tell people you have to speak the truth out into the world so it's incapable of not being heard by people. You want to say that's forcing something down other people's throats? No, it's not. Forcing religion down someone else's throats is not a right because it's untrue and it causes and perpetuates harm. I'm not causing and perpetuating any harm because I'm saying what is true based on the vetting and verification of what is true using the true truth discovery methodology called the trivia method, which you don't have in hand or understand how to employ. That's why you're losing the battle for your freedom, is because you don't even understand how to understand the dynamics that generate or destroy freedom. You don't have that in hand. And you continue to do the things and condone the things that destroy freedom while simultaneously say, I don't want freedom destroyed, I want it intact. And you don't understand it's impossible based on your current thinking. Thinking a certain way destroys human freedom. Thinking the way that aligns your thought and behavior to the truth is what creates and preserves human freedom. And you guys out there in TV land and internet fucking land still don't understand that, and you want to bend reality to your current way of religious distorted thought and believe that you can ever prosper. And that's why your butt hurt at me, and that's why my popularity has gone into the shitter, because I've remained unwavering to the cause of the truth and have not told butt-hurt idiots that you're okay the way you are. I'm not a person throwing stones or externalizing, pointing the fingers at others. You can think that it looks like that, but it isn't, because I've already done the shadow work to purge my mindset of all those religious distortions, and others haven't. Once you have purged your mindset of those religious distortions through deep-seated, true philosophical and spiritual shadow work that has nothing to do with new age bullshit, false versions of shadow work, then you can point to other people and say, hey, you haven't done this process. I have done it and you haven't, and I can spot you like this. You stick out like a sore thumb. I can tell who hasn't worked on themselves like that. And quite frankly, it's people that should know a whole lot more and a whole lot better than the knowledge and behavior that they display. It's sad and it's unacceptable and it's colossally disappointing. And that's why people don't want to hear my words, because you're offended by the truth. You're offended by what I'm telling you that's true about yourself. Yes, that's the reason. No, it's not that. It's not untrue. Yes, it's true. Yes, that's the real reason you don't want to hear Mark Passio these days, because he stopped telling you that it's all about the globalists and their mind control, and he started telling you it's all about your fucking stupidity, loser. That's the truth of the matter, and that's the truth of what this so-called bullshit movement is. And your masters know this, and they know that you're perpetuating your own enslavement, and they're laughing hysterically at your dumb fucking ass that is soon to be a dumb fucking carcass. So that's the truth of the matter, no matter who says it's otherwise. There's no problem with me. There's no problem with my anger, as I said, other than the fact that getting very ragefully angry raises my blood pressure and could be a detriment to my health. It's what I'm saying is still true, you fucking retarded losers out there. Point the finger at yourself, do your own shadow work like I did many, many years ago. Don't tell me that I need to do any more shadow work. I'm angry for the right reasons. You fucking retards are angry for all the wrong reasons. Let's get it clear and straight with everybody out there. And I'm not going to hear from dumb children that you know more than I do. You don't. I'm infinitely smarter than you, and I know how these dynamics really work. And I'm not going to be some humble fucking loser prick that just goes, oh, I know that I know nothing. I'm not one of those people. I'm not on that place in the Dunning-Kruger curve. I'm not at that spot in the function on the graph, which I'll show you in a minute. I'm past that. I did that shadow work, and I'm on the uptick all the way at the right, waiting for people to catch up. You see, or you will see if you have the brain power to understand what I'm talking about, which I seriously doubt. This is the problem, is that people don't really hear what I'm saying. They hear what they want to hear. They bring their own cognitive bias into the listening process, and it's just duck quack chatter of all the thoughts that already dwell in your mind perpetually, and you just let them set up shop there. You let them quack away inside your mind. You never quiet that duck speak thought in your brain, and that's why you're incapable of learning something new and different than you've been brainwashed with. So you bring your own distorted viewpoint into what should be a place of new learning, and it means you're actually incapable of new learning. That's why you don't make progress. That's why you're poor students. That's why you're losing your freedom. That's why it never gets any better. It only ever gets worse. And you're still too stupid to perceive that and hear the truth in my words telling you that, and then you want to get angry at the messenger with the truth in hand, trying to tell you what your actual next progress move needs to be. And you're telling me, when you're in a complete state of delusion and ignorance, that I'm the one who's incorrect. And then you want to wonder why I get angry? I'm the expert in this field, and the idiot students who know nothing are trying to tell the fucking professor that he's wrong. I'm not incorrect. I'm an expert in how this works because I've done nothing in the time of my life except study that in all my free time. That's all I have ever done. And then formulate new presentations to try to explain these dynamics to other people who are idiots. And then you wonder why I'm angry? I'm angry because I have an unteachable class of students. I'm teaching the retarded class of students the same information year over year over year over year that is factually correct. And the idiots in the class who never pass the class and never do anything positive for the world, never push the world into a better condition or state, tell me that I'm incorrect about my conclusions about where their psyche and consciousness is at. Imagine the fucking satanic hubris that you guys out there have, and you still don't hear what I'm saying. You'll still just saying I'm not saying anything. I'm telling you the most important information that could ever be communicated from one human being to another, and the most truthful, and the thing that will change the world for the better, the fastest, at the most accelerated pace. And you want to say, no, it isn't that. We got to eat more meat, Mark. We got to have new ways of planting food. We got to have new cryptos. We need new tech. You can't change a fucking thing. Oh, or even worse, we got to vote the right person in. You can't change a fucking thing with those external solutions. You're not changing how you think, and you believe that the world can ever change? You're deluded. Completely satanically deluded. It's tantamount to demonic possession. You guys are possessed. I hear people saying, Passio looks like he's possessed because he's so angry. No, fool. That's not the way that it is or works, and you can't see it because you're a fool. There's no problem with my righteous indignation, as I've said an innumerable amount of times, that you have shit in between your ears and you can't hear. The problem is I'm angry at people who aren't making any progress because they're fervently attached to wrong thoughts and don't want to change their own internal consciousness. I don't need to do shadow work to purge righteous indignation and never be angry. That's a crazy religious lunatic does that. An ascetic lunatic that believes no emotional display should ever happen in the enlightened. I'm an enlightened being. That doesn't mean when you're enlightened that you don't get angry. This is New Age bullshit religion. An enlightened person can still become ragefully angry at the ignorance of others, and quite frankly should. If there's so many people who are ignorant and all the people who claim to be somewhat knowledgeable will not do anything to educate those ignoramuses. And that's what I see. That's all I see in the whole freedom movement. There's a tiny, piss-poor, negligible handful of people that are working in any aspect to even attempt to morally educate anybody. It's all people looking external to themselves and saying, we need to do this, we need to invent this, we need to vote this person in, all absolutely incapable of producing any positive change at all. And they're going to insist that they're right, and they're going to insist Mark Passio is wrong, and you guys are dumb losers. I don't need to launch anything but an ad hominem attack because it's true. People who think like that have not heard the truth in what I'm saying, and they're just butthurt because I'm being not nice to other people because you had almost 20 years to understand this, and your progress has flatlined. You haven't even made very steady gradations in understanding. You haven't even flatlined. You've done this. You've sloped downward into more ignorance and negative knowledge. You believe more things that are untrue, like flat earth and carnism, and you haven't transcended any of that religious bullshit nonsense. And you want to believe that that's the truth that's important, that eating dead flesh from animals is what's important? The whole freedom movement, almost the whole freedom movement believes this bullshit. Almost the whole freedom movement are flat earthers. I mean, this is where we're at. Dude, the fucking occultists are they need to wear adult Depends every day because they're peeing in their fucking pants laughing at your loser dumbasses. And that's what people believe solutions are. That's what's so incredulous to me. That I really want to say to the former Satanists that I work with, you guys are absolute geniuses and masters. I never would have imagined that what you were telling me you were doing was this possible and effective, because you guys are winners at what you do. And I have respect for that as an opponent. I'm not on your side. I don't agree with what you are doing. I'm not in your cult. Just like I'm not in these losers' cult that you've mind controlled into their cult beliefs. I'm not with you, and I'm not with them. I stand on the side of the truth, which a negligible, tiny little portion of the population stands in that element. And that's why I thank the Creator when I get up every day, for no other reason other than I do stand within the truth of creation. That's it. That's the only thing I have to be thankful for. The rest of my life is torture by ignorant people. That's all it is. That's all I experience all day, every day. Can't enjoy myself. Can't go out and enjoy myself. Can't enjoy anything I do. Can't derive any pleasure from anything that I do, because all the world is an insane asylum of completely distorted, religious, crazed, dumb, ignorant people that want to tell one of the wisest among them that I'm wrong for saying that. No, I'm not. I've spoken the truth and will continue to speak the truth in whatever format I speak it in, and it stays and remains the truth because I'm not lying like you guys are. You're just fucking liars, and that's all there is to it. You're liars to yourself above all else, and that's breaking the number one rule of the universe. The number one rule of the universe is stop lying to yourself. Really, it's don't steal, but that's what you're doing when you lie to yourself. You're stealing from your own spiritual well of energy. Every lie diminishes you. Every time you lie to yourself about what you want to make the truth, diminishes yourself, degrades and debases yourself. And that's what you guys still haven't learned. Stop lying. You're liars. You're liars. You're liars. You're liars. And you're stealing as a result of your lying. That's why the world's in the hell that it is. That's why it's in the hellish condition that it is. Because you continue to look yourself straight in the eye and lie bald-faced to yourself. You continue to look right into the eyes of others and you lie to them bald-faced. You're the one sitting in the mirror and saying the body of another being belongs to me to do as I wish with it. And then in the next breath you say, I want freedom. I want to be free. You're a lying sack of shit. You're a lying sack of immoral trash. And the mechanism to get to the truth is a choice. And you're continuing to make the wrong choice. It is not the perpetual human condition that we must live in hell. That is not the nature of humanity. Everything we experience is a result of our choices, and you are making the wrong and incorrect and immoral choices and believing that you must continue to make the incorrect and immoral choices, and that is not true. And you've bought a lie. You've bought a fairy tale story about what you believe human nature is, what you believe the truth of what human beings must do is. You believe you believe the falsity that violence must be perpetuated. You believe the falsity that slavery must be perpetuated. And that makes you definitionally, by definition, a bad person. And that is what most of you are. So let's jump into the housekeeping announcements for those who stayed with us and can hear the actual factual truth of the matter of what almost every being on this fucking planet is. An absolute immoral bag of vermin. And I'll say it nice and calmly to people. So I haven't yelled. I've said things calmly. Everything I've said is true. I take none of it back. I apologize for none of it. Even when I was screaming over the last couple of weeks, I take none of it back. It was all true. Everything that I am saying regarding human beings is factually correct because I'm one of the best analysts, one who analyzes where human consciousness and where the human condition is at. I have a gift for doing that. That's why I do what I call consciousness checkpoints. Where is human consciousness at? Well, look at that whole spiel right there at the beginning of the show as a consciousness checkpoint for human beings. So let's run through some housekeeping announcements and then I'll go through some slides. We're on a 3-hour format until the end of June, which is probably going to be, June 23rd is probably going to be the last What on Earth is Happening show. At least I'm going to go on a minimum of probably a year or two hiatus with the show, or maybe never come back. I don't know. I have to try something new and see how it works. And the new thing I'm going to try again is all-day private seminars for a charge, for a donation, nothing released for free for at least 1 year after the seminar. So I'm going to do a private seminar probably sometime in early 2025. What on Earth is Happening will not return in 2025 as a weekly show. I will do a private all-day seminar for a donation, probably a donation of about $20, maybe more, I don't know. I have to figure out those logistics and, set some type of a fair price. And that will be the only work that I put out for the duration of that year. And I will release it the following year. So if I release the presentation in January, it'll come out the following January for free. It will be in the What on Earth is Happening gifts area for exactly 1 year. And that's what I have to do. That's what I'm going to have to do, because giving this information for free to people has resulted in contempt toward me by most people. I'm saying what's true and morally correct. I take none of it back because it was all true. Therefore, I have to take none of it back. I'm only charged with one thing here, speaking the truth to the people of this planet. That's my job under creation. I am here to speak what is correct and true to the people of Earth. And I've done this. And I don't apologize for doing it. I've done it factually and correctly. If you don't like the method or style that I've done it in, I couldn't give a shit. It's still true. And you don't understand that because you're a little piss in the diapers, shit in the diapers baby who believes the tone of delivery is equivalent to the veracity. and you don't understand tone of delivery has nothing to do with veracity. And if you don't understand that word, go look it the fuck up and stop being a dumb dunce. So, we were on a 6-month schedule this year. Last show, June 23rd. We're simulcasting to 10 platforms. All these titles came out this year: Government is Slavery, The Real 7 Deadly Sins, Technology's Critical Role in the War for Freedom, Why the Freedom Movement is Losing, and Two Masks, Same Face, The Dark Occult Origins of Nazism and Communism. I was sharing some of the slides from that presentation with friends who were hanging out with me this weekend. And man, I just gotta say, what a fucking job I did on Two Masks. It is one of the works that I am really inwardly so very proud of. The information in that presentation is Mike Tyson in his prime, right hook, right uppercut, right hook to the ribs, right uppercut to the chin combination. Awesome. Knock the fuck out awesome. Okay? Just looking at my slides and how informationally dense that information was, I'm floored by it. I'm amazed that I released that. And as I said before, folks, you could say, oh, he's tooting his own horn. Yeah, in this instance, I'm going to for a minute, because this presentation was one of the hardest to make. I cried many times, wept unconsolably in my office, many times making this presentation, because I realized how stupid the population still is, and it hasn't changed at all from these regimes. We're cut from the same immoral cloth, and we haven't learned a fucking thing. And I sat and wept over it, because we're still a population of satanic occult Nazis and satanic occult communists. We are satanic occult Nazis and communists in this world. And we're just rabid, religious, distorted trash apes. Nice and calm, right, folks? Is that an okay vibration? You picking up on my vibe? Let's put the shit-eating grin on and say it nice and smooth to you, like all your inner demons, to say all the justifications of your shit thoughts to you. Your satanic Nazis and your satanic communists. And you haven't learned a thing since these satanic murdering ritual regimes existed and did the havoc on the earth that they did and still do today. You haven't learned anything, because you're in a state of satanic religious disease, losers. And you haven't learned from human history. And you won't even learn from Two Masks, Same Face from Mark Passio, because you know better, and your ignorance is as good as all of my hard-won research and knowledge over all the years I've been doing this. And you know more and better, because your thoughts have gotten you exactly the same thing that they've always gotten you. And yet somehow they're going to do something different in the next few seconds. They're going to produce something completely different. Children, retarded children. So just because I said it like that makes it true. And if I start yelling, it's completely untrue, because the retarded children of the world said so. That's why. That's how you guys think. And you want to believe you're heading somewhere good. You want to believe you're good. You want to believe you're heading toward freedom instead of abject slavery and poverty, and all your children are going to end there too. End up there too. So these are available now in gifts at What on Earth is Happening, gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. I am going to make the effort of trying to release all of them in one day on June 21st, the summer solstice of this year. If I cannot actually do the logistical effort required to upload all of this within one 24-hour period, it will extend into June 22nd. But I will be releasing these that weekend, Friday and Saturday of June 21st and 22nd. So, again, if it extends into a 2-day period of uploading, you got to bear with me. I'm one person doing this. How to become the true media, racing toward us. It's just about a month left in enrollment, maybe a little more than a month. And this is my online technology skill sharing seminar, which I will continue to do on a yearly basis. And I gotta say, enrollment started out like a bat out of hell, and then they just dropped off when all of the problems with my dad were happening, and I was taking off time to deal with that. And just as a quick anecdote aside, I mean, there's people who really can't hear what's said. I had people saying Mark never had a relationship with his father. I don't know how they heard that from what I said. I said I had a good relationship with my father, although wasn't around him all the time. He had separated from my mother before I was born, but yet the time that I did spend with him, which was not a whole huge, considerable amount of time of my life, but I did have a good relationship. I didn't meet him later in life. I knew my father my whole life. And we hung out, we talked, we got along. He took me to places and did things with me, and it was always a very good relationship. I never had an estranged relationship with my biological father. And I don't know how people could have heard me say that last week. And then some people were saying Mark never knew his dad growing up. I'm like, this is proof. People hear only what they want to hear. They really have a filter in their mind that says, hear something other than what this person just said. Like, you really have to, right after you say something to somebody, you gotta literally insult them right to their face and say, are you intelligent enough to actually comprehend what I just said? Can you please repeat back to me what I just said to you? And guess what? Even if you do ask them that, they can't do it. This is proof that people have low comprehension capabilities. That's why it doesn't matter what you watch. You won't comprehend what you watch. It doesn't matter what you read. You have low comprehension abilities. That's where what low IQ is. You don't make the pattern recognition, and you don't have the recall to retain what was just shown to you. That's why people are poor learners. And the modern education system and your parents put you into that mind state. And with a lot of hard, challenging work, you can climb out of that hole. It is possible to become a non-ignorant human being. It is possible to truly learn and get yourself out of a place of poor learning. And I'm working with people, and when I do private mentoring, which is going to be the other thing that I do, I'm going to do private seminars and private one-on-one mentoring. That's what on Earth is Happening is going to shift to. Private seminars and private one-on-one mentoring. And when I do this one-on-one mentoring, I am going to be unleashing and unveiling the exact occult teaching system that the dark occultists teach to their young. And if you don't think that the young of the dark occult world are infinitely more intelligent and infinitely more capable than all of the people in the freedom movement put together, I don't know what to tell you. You take a person educated by the dark occultists, and you take a person educated by the public education system, which the retarded members of the truth and freedom community come from, and you tell me who's more intelligent. And if you say it's the person in the freedom movement, you're so delusional, you're out of your mind. And I'm not even talking about holistic intelligence. I'm talking about, can you recognize what is true? Can you build to a way of accurate, non-distorted thinking and the true perception of reality that is in front of your eyes? Can you see patterns when they occur? Can you learn something that you want to learn, or is the learning challenging for you? If learning something new is challenging for you, it's because you're a poor learner. Stop blaming other people. Shadow work has to start with acknowledgement. And what you have to do is you have to say to yourself the acknowledgement of why you're a poor learner. It would go something like this. And this is the method I'm going to use when I mentor privately. You have to sit with yourself quietly, with no other competing thoughts, no technology on around you, no distractions from other people, nobody trying to get your attention. And you sit with the uncomfortable thought, why am I a poor learner? I will now tell myself the truth of why I am a poor learner. I am a poor learner because I don't make the space for the things that I must learn, because my mind continues to chatter away and challenge for the space of where the new information that I wish to learn needs to be received within the mind at. You see, that's the truth. That's the acknowledgement. I've not learned to condition and control my thoughts. They control me. My thoughts barrage my mind while I'm trying to learn a new set of facts or a new skill set. I continue to justify the incorrect thoughts and distorted thoughts which I previously thought and continue to think, and I will not let them go even for a second, because to put them down for a second is identity death to me. That's the acknowledgement of shadow work. You're not going to get that in the New Age community. You're not. They're not going to teach it to you. This is what the dark occultists will force their young to continue to say to themselves, and then say, now, what are you going to do to correct that? I am going to do all of the sacrifice that is necessary, time-wise, resource-wise, attention-wise, to force this information into my mind to the extent that I learn it so well that I become unconsciously competent at it. You'll never hear that from anybody in the New Age movement. They won't tell you that, because that's breaking out deep occult wisdom that's been held by the dark occult mystery traditions for tens of thousands of years, and that's why they teach it to their young, and that's why your young never learn those methods, and they remain stupid shit trash apes their whole lives, believing totally distorted shit that the people who have learned how reality really works pump at them, so they become completely distorted, slave-minded people and are easily ruled and are easily fooled. If you're easily fooled, you're easily ruled. And that's where the people in this community are. If you're so easily fooled that you believe that the body of other beings belong to you, if you're so easily fooled that you think you're living on some fucking disc plane, like if you're so easily fooled that you believe authority is moral, if you're so easily fooled you believe voting for somebody's going to change something, if you're so easily fooled you believe inventing some new shit is going to change anything when you haven't mastered morality, you haven't mastered the basics of morality. Not only haven't you mastered the basics of morality, you're totally in aberrant opposition to the truth of morality. You're challenging the laws of morality. And like I said, that's standing on train tracks with your hand like this, right in a 200-mile-an-hour barreling locomotive coming at you. You got your hand out like that on the tracks like you're going to stop that fucking train. It's going to mow you the fuck down, little boy, little girl, dumb little boy, dumb little girl, standing on train tracks with your arm extended. You're going to get splattered to mush by nature's laws. And you already are. You're already eaten. You're already food for the dark occult. That's already the hell that you live in. It's not coming. It's already here. If you want to get your head out of the trash morass that it's in, you might want to take How to Become the True Media to learn competency in communication and publishing technology, which is the vehicle for the expression of truth in the modern world. This is an online technology skill sharing seminar over 23 weeks, hosted on Telegram every Monday evening, 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern, from July 8th to December 9th, for a total of 23 class sessions. There is limited seminar space. Enroll now. Enrollment has been open from April 1st, and it will close July 4th. Visit howtobecomthetruemedia.com to enroll. You hit the Enroll Now button, and then you donate using one of the donation methods listed. Let me show you that. I'll step out of the presentation slides. We'll go to my web browser. This is howtobecomthetruemedia.com. It's very simple. It shows you what it is. It shows you what we're going to teach. And you have an enrollment button at the top and the bottom. You hit the Enroll Now button. That takes you to gifts. Here's the item. How to become the true media. You hit add to basket. You can go and look at your basket. And there is the item in the basket. You hit secure checkout, and you could pick these donation methods. This isn't hard to do, folks. I don't know what the problem. These are the 12 methods of donation that I accept on gifts. If you don't have any of them, don't put an item in your basket. Don't bother to use the site. You must have loaded into your account prior to putting any items in your basket and trying to check out. You must have the amount in your account first that you're going to spend on gifts, that you're going to donate on gifts. So if you don't have Cash App, Wise, Zelle, or the 9 cryptocurrencies that I accept here, don't use this website. It's not complicated. I don't take debit cards or credit cards because I'm not a merchant and I don't have a merchant account. What on earth is happening is not a business. It's an educational outreach. It's a private educational outreach operation. I do not have an LLC. I do not have a DBA. I do not have an incorporation. There is no business. There is no commerce. This is a private donation, one-to-one, from one individual, a private donation to another individual with no merchant account and no intermediary. I don't understand what's so complicated to understand about that. Everybody should understand this at this point in human life. And if you don't have one of these donation methods, don't use my gift card. It's not hard. That's not challenging. And again, this is why I call people retarded. They try to make an order and they go, oh, I didn't have any of the donation methods. Well, moron imbeciles. Let's say it all shit, eat, and grin. Let's do the new age. The new age, tell people the truth about how retarded they are. So, retard. It's not hard. See, I could just say it's so flowery to you that you'll just love Mark Passio because he's saying it to you in the most flowery, new agey voice imaginable these days. So, clown, if you read the intro to Gifts, which is right here when you click, imagine this, it's when you click Gifts, it tells you how to use it, right? Before using, you should know that you can only donate with these methods. And you'll notice I took GPay down because GPay is going away as a peer-to-peer payment method. So I'm no longer accepting GPay. GPay is done peer-to-peer on June 4th, and I cut it 2 days early. Okay? So, back to talking to the retards out there. They can't read words. So when I tell them these are the methods I accept and I don't take credit card or debit card, they then go load up their basket and they hit checkout and they say, why can't I pay with my debit card or credit card? Because you're retarded and you don't know how to read and comprehend what you read. So, because I said it's so nice and flowery, does that make it true now, morons? I guess it's true now. But before it wasn't, because I just called you a fucktard in a loud, nasty voice. But now when I say you're a fucktarded retard in a smiling, shit-eating grin, new age voice, then all of a sudden Mark Passio's the good guy again, right? Loser? I guess so. Okay. It's unbelievable where the dark occult have us. It's really unbelievable. It's truly amazing. So that's how to become the true media. That's how to use my simple gift basket. It's not complicated. It's not hard to understand at all. It's you're a poor learner. You don't read. That's why they're beating our ass, period, is because people don't read and they don't comprehend what they read. Let's go back to the housekeeping slides. And once again, I don't give a shit about complaints about the pace my show moves at. I don't care if you have a low attention span because you're a fucktarded retard who your parents fucked up and didn't teach them to have a long attention span to truly learn. It's another reason you're a poor learner. Your attention span is directly connected with how well you learn or don't learn. So you could visit howtobecomethetruemedia.com if you want to truly learn. You'll be taught with one of the most effective methodologies that can be used for teaching. If people are poor learners and even how to become the true media, the fault does not lie with Mark Passio. I'm a phenomenal teacher, quite frankly. I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it. I'm an expert at what I do. I've been doing it to a high level. And if you don't learn even in how to become the true media, it's because you're a poor learner with shit between your ears and you want to take your bad habits into a new relationship. And I'm trying to explain to you, you have to learn the right way of getting your mind straight and truly learning. See, how to learn has to be learned first before you learn. See, people don't even understand that basic truth. The reason people are poor learners is they haven't been taught how to learn. They haven't been taught the proper mode of internal state that one must put oneself into to receive knowledge. That's why people are poor learners. They enter the learning environment all fucked up inside themselves, and they're not in the proper reception state for even the best teachers to convey the knowledge. That's why many people are too hard-headed to learn from me, even though I really know what I'm talking about. I really know the material. I really genuinely know how to teach it. The problem does not lie with Mark Passio or his teaching methods. The problem lies with poor student consciousness, and your consciousness is not ready for proper reception. And it's because you haven't learned occult techniques to prepare your vessel in the state of consciousness that it needs to be in to even begin to receive truth. You've blocked that off from yourself, and you're still in a state of unreadiness to receive information because you're so religiously attached to bullshit. And your mind is chattering away. Don't let go of the bullshit. Don't let go of the bullshit. Don't let go of the bullshit. That's why you're incapable of learning, because your mind chatters into yourself. Continue to accept the bullshit and let it all stay in this space right here so you make no space for truth. And that is the truth. Get as offended as you want by that statement. Check out One Great Work Network, over 75 great content creators, onegreatworknetwork.com. That's personally curated by me. Don't Tread on Philly meets second Wednesday of each month at the Dive in South Philly. You can go on the Facebook Don't Tread on Philly page for the dates. That's going to be coming up next week. Inquire and Inspire, third Thursday of every month. Free to attend at Arnold's Family Fun Center in Oaks, Pennsylvania. For more information, inquireandinspire.com. Really, the big event of the century is coming up, and that is the big gig between my new band, Mercy Comet, and Douglas Adams' Disaster Area. So, I'm really looking forward to the big event. It's only the end of the world again, galactic tour with Disaster Area. Mercy Comet is going to knock your socks off with our new songs. What is the new name of the song? We just had some generative AI make a Mercy Comet song. It's going to be called Idiot's Apocalypso is the first new track from Mercy Comet. The Idiot's Apocalypso. Maybe that might be the album title. Okay. And, Mercy Comet's going to be blasting that one out with Disaster Area. Disaster Area, of course, will be performing Only the End of the World Again, their hit. This is one night only on Judgment Day itself, rapidly coming at us at the space lot of Milliways, the restaurant at the end of the universe. Don't panic. Just get your tickets and be there. Passio Desiato. How could you possibly not attend that event? The IPFS project is still ongoing. WhatOnEarthIsHappening.com/IPFS. There won't be call-ins for the rest of What on Earth is Happening. I'll have to just remove that slide. No more call-ins. Just Mark Passio telling you the truth until I ride off into a different mode of teaching. Not into the sunset, not into darkness, into a new and elevated way of teaching to the people who have prepared their vessel for the reception of truth. That's who I'll be speaking to in the future. And maybe if I feel like the situation improves at some point in the distant future, maybe I'll come back on the airwaves. But no more free stuff out of Mark Passio. I'm sorry. Cannot do it anymore. And people can say whatever they want. That's not spiritual. That's not being selfish. That's not being all about money. I have to separate the wheat from the chaff in my work, where I will just give knowledge indiscriminately to those who want it will be the ARC offer. That will stay in perpetuity. The ARC will always be available from me as long as I'm alive. Okay? ARC 2.0, the amazing repository of knowledge, is you send a storage device, a digital storage device like a solid state drive or a hard drive. Really, you should probably send a solid state drive today. It's just so much more reliable and not prone to being damaged during shipment. I highly recommend a 2 terabyte solid state drive for this offer. I will fill it up. You send it to me, I fill it up with 26,000 audio files, 9,500 books, 3,400 digital videos from my own archive of digital research downloaded from the internet. This is the grammar stage of the trivium. Getting the ARC means that you essentially have the grammar of the trivium method that you require to then come into a state of understanding and then proceed to rhetoric or wisdom, which is doing the right thing with all of that knowledge and understanding. For more information, whatonearthishappening.com/ARC. Please follow the shipping instructions respectfully. They are there not to command you, but to give you instruction on the right way of packaging up your property so it doesn't get damaged during the round trip from you to me and then back to you. It's very simple. I'm not trying to be your master. I'm trying to protect your property because I have respect for it. This is what people in this movement think, because I'm giving instruction on how to properly pack the box and to respectfully do it in a way that is respectful of my time and your property. You think I'm commanding you. And so you want to do little needling things where you say, I'll do it how I want. Well, I'll give the data to who I want. And it won't be you if you don't follow the instructions that I've respectfully laid out. I will send you back a blank drive, and I've sadly done it a few times this year already. I'm not that guy, folks. You gotta needle me to bring that guy out of me. I'm really not that guy. People who know me know I'm generally a very easygoing, chill, fair, well-balanced individual in life. People bring an animalistic side out of me because they're really disrespectful people who do disrespectful things. I'm respectfully asking you follow my process of packing it and shipping it, because if you don't do that, you're disrespectfully wasting my time. And now when people do a disrespectful thing with not following the ARC, I used to send them the data anyway because I didn't want to be the dick that says, you did all this and you paid all that money to get it to me and then back to you. I'll give you the data anyway. I used to do that, and I do not do it anymore. I don't reward incompetence. I don't reward laziness. I don't reward disrespect. So if you don't follow the shipping directions, you don't get the ARC data. And the donation that you send isn't refundable. I'll get your property back to you, but it will not have the data on it if you don't follow the shipping directions. Respectfully follow them, and you get the ARC data. It's real simple. It's very, very easy to do. Actually, there's nothing challenging in this process. Just don't do the things that I tell you not to do, because it makes work for me to clean up. And you know what I do these days? I say, fuck you. I ain't doing the work to clean your mess up. The label goes on and it goes right back empty. I don't even look at it now. I repack it, put the label on it, goes right back. I've done it many times this year so far, and I feel bad saying that. But that has happened more than once in the year 2024 already, and I will continue to send ARC drives back empty. that is an infinitesimally tiny amount compared to the amount of arcs that go out of here with all the data on them. Far, 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 tiny little bit show disrespect to this offer. Most people realize how easy it is to do. Boom, they do it. They get the ARC data. It's off to the races. You don't even have to have an internet connection if you don't want after that. So that's the ARC offer. You can get hard copies of all my work, plus t-shirts and the One Great Work solid state drive with all my work on it. Technology donations are there when we have them up. My documentary is there. Flash drives, DVDs, t-shirts, coasters, stickers. We got a new batch of coasters in. They're great. People seem to be loving them. There's keychains, there's stickers. People are really requesting the stickers. I'm having to reprint those a lot. Women's shirts were out of. They didn't sell too well. I have, still men's shirts in stock. So that's all available at gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. Remember, 12 donation methods. Cash App, Wise, and Zelle are the electronic payment, peer-to-peer payment methods, donation methods. 9 cryptocurrencies are accepted. That's what I accept at Gifts, nothing else. Don't put items in the basket if you don't intend to make an immediate donation to receive them. That's all. Just look at what I accept. If you have that and you already have money in that account, then go engage with Gifts. If not, don't use Gifts. I don't take credit cards or debit cards, and I never will, because I'm not a merchant with a merchant account. I'm never going to be one. If you want to make a straight donation to the cause, I'll have to update this graphic here, or maybe I won't, for the rest of the season. I no longer take GPay, so ignore that one. But Cash App, Wise, and Zelle, plus 9 cryptos are still accepted. Plus, our Amazon wish list is up there at the donation page of What on Earth is Happening, and you could request the address for sending a check or money order to support the What on Earth is Happening, How to Become the True Media, and One Great Work Network causes. Those are the housekeeping announcements. Let's jump into a couple of slides before we get into the Neo-Feminism section for this week. The Unholy Feminine Revisited, Part 14. This is the state of humanity, ladies and gentlemen. This is why Mark Passio is angry. Mark Passio is not angry because he eats a plant-based diet like a moral individual for moral reasons. All of the people who will not understand and refuse to accept and continue to offer justifications which are immoral for a plant-based diet, because they will make the statement to the universe that the body of another being belongs to them and is their property. You show them a picture of a cow and you say, whose body is this? Is that your body? No normal thinking, reasonably intelligent being will say, yes, that's my body. If I show you a picture of a dog and I say, is that your body? You're not going to say that's your body. It's very simple. Who owns the body that I'm showing you in the photo? If I show you a picture of a deer or a picture of a bear, that animal owns that body. Just like if I show you a picture of yourself, you're the owner of that vehicle. You're the owner of that body. This is nursery school shit, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why humanity is fucked and doomed. We aren't even learning nursery school shit. And we think we're going to become free beings. You're going to challenge the dark occult masters of this place, and you're going to win and be free beings? You don't even know which body belongs to you and which doesn't. That's how fucking retarded you are. And you want to believe you're going to challenge the tyranny of this fucking planet, of this realm, and you're going to win? You're going to defeat tyranny when you don't even understand the basic morality of the body of another being is not your property? You're going to get fucking owned and eaten, which is what you belong, where you belong. That's divine justice. That's how the justice of the Creator works. You refuse to accept its laws, you get fucking buried and eaten. Not necessarily in that order. This is the human condition, ladies and gentlemen. Who wants change? Everybody puts their hand up with a shit-eating New Age grin on their face. Who wants to change? Now you're the bad guy. You're the fucking demon. You're the demonically possessed. You're asking me to change? You're asking me to give up my fucking bullshit religions? Fuck you, demon. I'm not giving up my bullshit religions, but what you're saying is you're fucking owned and possessed. See, it's not the person asking you to change that's somehow possessed. No, I'm in right relationship and right alignment with the cosmos. You're in distorted relationship. You're in complete unalignment with the laws of the cosmos because you don't want to do the inner work to change and give up your bullshit religion and your demonic possession. It's not Mark Passio who's possessed because of his anger that there's so many stupid fucking people in the world not changing the world for the better and putting into a deeper and deeper state of tyranny and slavery. That's a normal, healthy response to what's happening on this planet. That's not anything that's bad or wrong or imbalanced. Once again, the only thing that could be a problem with that is I endanger my health because of what it does to my blood pressure. That's about it. That's the only reason that anybody can make for me saying, Mark, you should probably calm down for your own health reasons. I have not said anything that is untrue, even in a state of righteous rage. And you guys are too stupid to understand that. You see? You're just dumb little children who believe it can only be true if it's spoken politely. You're wrong. That means that you're under mind control. It means you're under mind control if you can only hear something that's said to you calmly. That's a form of being under mind control. And this is what all of the media, the New Age, the religions, all of the fucking teachers that you've ever had have conditioned your shit for brains mind that truth has to come in pleasing tones only, with a shit-eating grin on the face of the person speaking it to you. No, that's incorrect. You're wrong if you believe that. You're religiously deceived if you believe that. You're under mind control and social engineering tactics if you believe that. Somebody screaming the truth in your face 2 inches away from your face with a bullhorn, if they're speaking the truth, it remains true. It's still true no matter how the delivery method happens. It doesn't matter how vitriolic it is. It doesn't matter how quote-unquote unhinged it seems. You're the problem. You can't receive it if it comes to you in high voltage energy. You can't receive it if it comes in a high dose of passion. You can't receive it if it comes with moral immediacy and charge behind it because you're weak. You're weak vessels, you're little children, you're weak-minded, you're weak-bodied, you're weak-willed, you're weak-souled. You have soul disease. You don't understand what strength and health looks like. So you need to be baby spoon-fed, and I'm not the one who's going to do that for you. Go fuck yourself. Go find somebody else to treat you like a baby. I'm not a fucking baby, and neither are you. You should be more adult than that, and you should understand what reality is more than you do. You had more opportunities to understand it, and you reject it out of hand because you're weak-minded and you're possessed. You're possessed. Mark Passio is perfectly fine. All of my reasons for being as angry as I have been are perfectly justifiable and fine and are for the correct reasons. You getting angry at that is for the incorrect reasons, and it means you're a weakling, and it means that you're stupid, and it means you don't understand real morality, and it means you don't understand real spirituality, and it means you don't want to change. You just want the truth to bend to your satanic will. That's the truth of the matter. That's why people don't like Mark Passio these days. Not because I'm saying anything that's untrue. They will never, ever, ever engage a dynamic that I spoke and try to disprove it, because they will not be able to. Because it's simple, it's logical, it's in harmony with universal law and objective morality, and it's correct. I'm not incorrect in what I am saying. I'm completely correct in what I am saying regarding how humanity is behaving and how the laws, the moral laws of the universe operate. I'm correct in those assertions. I am so angry not because I eat a moral diet. I am not angry because people in my life have passed away. I am angry because there are completely religiously distorted thinking zealots who want to tell me that what I'm saying is false, what they're saying is true, and that I'm angry because of my diet, my moral dietary choices. You're sick and demonically possessed. I'm well and healthy. You're ill. You're sick. You're religiously diseased. I have every right to be angry at your religious proselytizing when I've told you that I'm not interested in hearing it. Keep your cult bullshit away from me. I'm not in your cult. I'm not in any of your cults. I stand alone within the truth. And very few other people are there with me. So I shouldn't say the word alone. Practically alone in the truth. Almost everybody on this planet is a religiously diseased, retarded child stuck in a distorted way of complete zealot religious thought. They will not let go of their zealotry and their religious bullshit. And that's why they're enslaved and will continue to be enslaved forever. I'm here, charged by creation, to tell you how this dynamic works. You're just not smart enough to hear what I'm saying. You're a poor learner. Almost all of you are terrible, terrible, terrible learners. And you're the ones who need to do extended shadow work. Mark Passio has already done all the shadow work Mark Passio needs to do. I've changed myself in the ways that I needed to change myself to understand reality and align my behavior to reality. You guys have not. You're in satanically possessed mindsets of this religion, this distorted religious thought is my entire ego identity. And to let go of that identity is complete death to my being and my psyche. And that means you're possessed, not Mark Passio. Don't accuse me of what you have going on inside of your soul. I'm perfectly fine and have been perfectly fine within myself for a long, 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 long time. I've solved what I need to solve morally. You guys have not. My anger has nothing to do with immoral behavior. It has to do with the incredulity of a retarded species that can't get a nursery school class. And you should be ashamed of yourselves. You shouldn't feel good. You should be in a state of shame. And yes, I'm shaming people. I'm saying you had every opportunity to receive this truth. You've had every opportunity to redeem yourself. You've had every opportunity to learn what needs to be learned morally and to accept the truth without justification of immoral behavior. And you have not done it. That makes you a terrible being. You're not just a bad person. The people who resist the truth that I have been speaking regarding morality, you're evil. You're not just terrible people. You're completely internally aligned with evil. And you don't even understand what evil is. You're in alignment with evil, with the force of evil at work in the world, perpetuating it in the world. And you want to complain that Mark Passio is telling you that. This is how sick. You're violently sick. You're violently, completely unwell. I'm in a state of depression over how unwell all of you are. That's normal. That's a normal response. Should I be in a state of shitty and grin happiness that my dad took the kill shots and say, well, he took the kill shots, but my energy's just going to stay completely ebullient. Go look it up, fucktards. And I'm not going to do anything or say anything negative or feel any negativity. And you guys think that's what spirituality is, you dumb fucks. You loser dumb fucks that have been lied to and deceived and taught bullshit. And then you latch onto it with religious zeal. And then you believe you're right when you're completely deceived. Let's say it to you with a shitty new age grin on our face, loser. Because that's what you are. A complete loser in life. And you bought into a bunch of deception, and then somebody is trying to tell you that to help you clean up your act, and you want to tell me there's a problem with me. You're incorrect. There is no problem with me. I'm in total alignment with reality. I've purged my religions. You haven't. You're in complete contradiction with reality and with natural law, and that's why you bring self-inflicted suffering unto yourselves and all other beings on this planet, and you are an immoral person for doing that and staying in that state. And no one should take it easy on you as a result of you staying in that satanic religious mindset. They should be harsh on you, and most of all, you should be harsh upon yourself, and you're not. You just think you're okay, and you want to keep offering your bullshit justifications for continuing to think the shit satanic thoughts that you continue to think, and then condoning the shit satanic behavior that you continue to condone, because you're low-life, immoral trash apes. And we'll say it nice and calm to you like the little fucking baby retard that you are. You don't want to change. You want to believe that reality has to reshape itself toward your thoughts. That's what Satanism is, ladies and gentlemen. You won't bend to reality and moral truth. You want the universe to bend to your will. That is the definition of Satanism. And most of you people, most of you immoral trash out there, you are locked completely within that religious mindset, and you are possessed by it. It owns you. You're a victim of the Dunning-Kruger effect. See, we'll do this the whole show, and there won't be any other new teaching or expanding on the topic I really want to teach and expand on. I will go through the information that I want to go through each week, because this is what needs to be said to you people. And I'll do it in a way that I can completely control the emotion behind it, and all that should show you is that you're mind controlled. You'll want to say, this was a better show than last week because I didn't get angry. Why? Everything I said on last week's show and the show before that and the show before that, didn't matter how many times I screamed or yelled, was still true. Truth is not determined by tonality of one's voice. If you believe that, you're a loser that's under mind control. And you need to get out of that state of mind control so that you can accept no matter how something is said. If it's true, it's still true. And this is where people are at. They have no knowledge. They're all the way toward the left of this graph, which means you really don't know anything. You have no knowledge. And the function works that at that place, most people think they know everything. The dumbest people in the world are the biggest know-it-alls. And as knowledge increases, people get less confident. This is why it is said in the ancient Greek mystery traditions that to drink a shallow draught from the Pierian spring, which is the wellspring of knowledge of the universe, is to have an intoxicating effect upon one's mind. When you have a little bit of knowledge and you're half-assed and halfway about obtaining knowledge, then you either think you know everything or you're in a state that you don't think you know anything. You have no confidence in your knowledge or ability because you've begun to realize that there's way more to it that you need to learn. and that you lack that grammar, you lack that data, that knowledge in the first step of the trivium process. Then when somebody finally does become a truly learned person by going all the way to the right of that graph, and they really have a whole lot of knowledge, they can see the intricacies and the complexities of what is going on around them. And it is complicated, but you can still boil it down to certain ways of working, and you can understand those things. They're not unattainable. They're not unreachable. The problem is you're still talking to people who are all the way back on that left side of the graph, who haven't made that journey in knowledge and who don't have any of that data at their disposal, and who still think they know something when they're retarded and they don't know a fucking thing. They don't know they couldn't find their asshole with both hands, a big funnel, and a flashlight. And I mean one of those industrial fucking flashlights, like, 2,000 lumens. Okay? You couldn't find your asshole with all of that. That's how much you don't know. And then you want to tell the people who have made it all the way to the other side of that function through hard-won knowledge over years and years and years and years and years and years of study that you know more than them in your state of complete ignorance, and you have all this confidence that you're right when you're actually a know-nothing. See, that's the child trying to say, I know more than the parent. And I don't mean a bad parent. I'm talking about like a parent in the true aspect of what a parent should be. Like, I really genuinely learned everything that I truly need to know about life and parenting before even bringing a child into the world. And I genuinely know what I need to know to raise my child properly from a moral capacity and a life-based capacity. That kind of a parenting. That kind of parenting. Okay? And you're the ignorant, asinine child who knows nothing and is looking at the parent saying, fuck you, you don't know anything and I know what's best. You're wrong. I don't want to be that parent. That's not my responsibility. I didn't shit out children that I don't want to take the responsibility for educating morally. See, I'm thrust into the position of being a parent to uneducated, immoral children in this world who think they're know-it-alls when I didn't generate the responsibility of becoming a parent in the physical domain. And yet, because other people did such a shit job at the one job that they had to morally raise their children, all of that responsibility got shunted and shifted off of the actual biological parents, and it gets shifted on to people like myself who actually are mature, responsible, knowledgeable adults, but didn't have children biologically. And now the raising of other people's children who were never raised by their biological parents gets shunted and thrust onto people like myself. And that's unfair. I didn't ask for it. I didn't want that to be the case. I didn't have children because I don't want that responsibility in a world that is going to hell in a handbasket. Trying to do the things that are going to be required not to have them deceived. Because more likely than not, I'd end up putting somebody in the ground for trying to poison my child's mind and telling me I have to take it. You're not going to get away with that on this one. I'm not a person who's endlessly peaceful. I think people who will never do something physically harmful to someone else don't understand the law of self-defense. They don't understand the principle of self-defense. If somebody is damaging you by telling you must take on a worldview and do the things we tell you that you need to be doing, even though you know them to be harmful and destructive, you have a right to physically rebel against that. That's self-defense. It's contained, it's encased within natural law. And most people of this world don't have any of those natural instincts left in them. They want to keep taking shit no matter how violent the shit gets, no matter how wrong it is, and then say the people that say they could physically defend themselves against that type of violence, whether it be physical or worldview-based violence, somehow are wrong. No, they are not. You are wrong for believing that self-defense can't be taken into the realm of action when someone is forcing a belief upon you through religion. I'm not in your religious cult. And when I say I don't want to associate with somebody, I have the freedom of association not to associate. To try to force association and interaction onto somebody is just the equivalent of raping them and stealing from them. You're stealing time from them. You're stealing energy from them. People are like, why don't you just block these people? I told them not to interact with me, and they're trying to force interaction upon me. I don't need to do the full-time job of trying to block and block and block. I'd be blocking everybody. If I say I don't want interaction, respect, that's my freedom of association. I don't want interaction. Stop forcing your interaction upon me. I don't owe you shit. I don't owe you time. I don't owe you effort. I don't owe you energy. I owe you nothing. I've paid all my debts. I'm indebted to no one. I'm not indebted to the universe anymore. I've paid my karmic debt by what I have done in this life. 10-fold over, 100-fold over, I've paid for my past mistakes. And I could say that confidently. I'm not on the left side of this Dunning-Kruger effect graph. I'm not on the left side of that function. I'm all the way to the right of that function. And when I say I'm not in anybody's debt, it's a true statement. It's not a statement of being a know-it-all when I actually know nothing. I know what karma is. I know how it works. I've made my life study that. And when I tell you I've paid my karmic debts 100-fold, I've paid them 1,000-fold. I don't owe you anything. I don't owe anybody anything. I have no debts. Okay? I've atoned for everything I was indebted to this world for, which was my former distortion in my thought field that was projecting out to others and poisoning their worldview. I've made amends for that 1,000 times over. I don't owe anybody 1 second of my time, and you will not force your interaction upon me. Not without getting hurt or taking a very significant chance of getting hurt, because I'm not the person who's going to sit there and say, I'm going to excuse your immoral behavior an endless amount of times. You will find out that I have every right under natural law to defend myself from someone who is trying to force interaction upon me. As much as a woman walking down the street would have the right to tell a stalker, stay away from me, get out of my physical presence, because you're stalking me and you're trying to push interaction upon me. She'd have a right to pull out a gun and blow the stalker away. Okay? The end. And if you don't think so, you're a person who believes that people are allowed to be stalked, are allowed to be harassed, and possibly even allowed to be raped, because you don't understand natural law. This is one step removed from forcible interaction like a rape. And saying that someone can continuously harass and stalk somebody, even if it's only digitally, is just like making excuses for people who go and stalk somebody as a prelude to raping them. It's just like that. You don't have that right. You don't understand the right of free will association, and the very first right is the right to be left alone when I tell someone I want to be left alone. If you don't understand that, you don't understand natural law at all, and that's why you're an immoral person who can't hear what I'm saying about leave me alone, or your behavior is actionable. Yes, it is. No, I'm not incorrect. No, it's not a threat. I'm telling you that I understand how natural law works regarding the principle of self-defense, and that applies to stalking, digital or otherwise. I'm not prey, and I will not be stalked. And if you think you're going to continue to stalk me, keep doing it and find out what's going to happen to you at some future point. And it's not a threat, it's an absolute promise. And if you think I'm wrong for that, you're wrong. And you don't understand self-defense under natural law. I'm telling people, do not continue to forced interaction upon me and try to make demands on my time. I don't owe you a second of my fucking time. I don't owe anybody a second of my fucking time, ever. My time belongs to me to give to other people as I see fit. Imagine going up to a woman and harassing her and saying, you have to talk to me. She doesn't need to talk to you, moron. If somebody says stop talking to me, you stop talking to them and stop harassing them and stalking them. That's it. No means no. And I've told people in this community, I don't want your interaction. I don't want your suggestions. Stop talking to me. Stop trying to force your interaction upon me. I'm a public figure in one way only. I post content in one direction. I create the content, I post it. I don't want interaction. If I could turn off all commenting and all interaction, I would. I need the social media to show people what I'm creating. That's the only reason I want it there. I don't want interaction. I don't want your opinion. I think your opinion is crap and crud. And I don't want it, and I'm not asking for it. I'm smarter than almost all of you put together. I don't care whether you think that's arrogant or egotistical. It's true anyway. And I don't want interaction from people that I consider retarded morons. And I have that right. It's not your right to force interaction upon me. That's coercion and theft. That's the violent breaking of natural law rights. And that's actionable behavior. And that's all I'm going to say about it from here on out. I'm not going to harp on that endlessly. Understand it. For all the morons out there who don't understand the principle of self-defense because you're a little chicken shit coward. Understand the principle of self-defense, you little chicken shit know-nothing cowards. Let's say it with the shit-eating New Age grin. There's such a thing as the principle of self-defense, boys and girls, and you clowns don't understand it, and you think that if people digitally stalk and harass you, that's just fine and dandy. See, the problem is, you little loser know-nothings, is that you're not public figures putting out any information out into the world because you're know-nothing losers who don't understand that you need to interact through technology to do publishing and communication of the truth, because you're lazy losers with no skin in the game. And because you're lazy losers with no skin in the game, you don't even get any interaction from anybody. And you don't have anybody making demands on your time and digitally harassing you. No. You're nice and safe in your little pocket, in your little bubble of your imagined privacy, and you're running away from the challenge of the world, which is to morally educate others. And that's what you're doing. You're running away from that responsibility because you're a little know-nothing retarded child. And you don't know the first thing about people trying to force you to pay attention to them and give your time to them when you've already told them, I don't want to associate with you in any way. I don't want to associate with you, flat earthers. Stay away from me. I'm not in your cult. I don't care if you're butthurt by that and you thought I was going to be one of your cult leaders. I'm not in your cult, losers, because I know how to think and you don't. I don't want to hear from Carnus trying to convince me that I need to eat dead animal flesh. No, I don't, and no does anyone else, nor does anyone else. If you don't understand that, your thinking is broken and you're engaging in religious lunacy. Whether you believe that is true or not, it's still true. And I don't want to hear any more about it. I don't want your religion foisted onto me. I've rejected your cult and your sick, twisted, death-based religious viewpoint. I'm not interested in having your religion proselytized to me. If I told the same Jehovah's Witnesses, stay away from my house, don't knock on my door, I don't want to leave my office that I'm doing important work at to answer the door for your loser asses and engage your bullshit for even 1 second, let alone an hour. Don't keep coming back to my door. I've told you as much. Stay away from me. I'm not going to say it again. I'm not playing. Stay away from me. I don't owe you a second of my time. I don't owe any of you anything. Understand the Dunning-Kruger effect, and you will understand your own cognitive biases and your own religious bullshit nonsense that you carry with you day in and day out, like heavy suitcases everywhere you go. That's why it blocks your progress. That's why it retards your spiritual progress. That's why you're retarded. Retardation means the process of being slowed down by an impediment. Look up the word. That's why you're offended by words. You don't know what they mean. Retarded is not an insult. It means you're slow. You've been slowed down by an impediment. In this case, it's an impediment in your thinking process. So understand the Dunning-Kruger effect, and you will understand your cognitive bias. How you have limited knowledge and experience, and you're overestimating what you think you know because you're unaware of what you don't know. You're unaware of all the knowledge and truth that you haven't assembled. You haven't aggregated that knowledge. You've done tiny little cursory cherry picking of the knowledge you want that confirms your cognitive bias. You haven't looked at all the data. You haven't looked at a tiny portion of the data. If you saw the data that I've looked at, you'd release your bowels. You wouldn't even be able to comprehend what I've studied and taken in. It's practically inhuman. It's practically inhuman. I look at it myself, and I've said it many times, it almost disturbs me. It makes me think I really, truly am some different species than everybody else around me, because I don't know anyone that was as savagely, ravenously obsessed with knowledge the way I had been. You have no idea what I know. You have no idea what I've taken in. You have no idea how correct I am about everything that I have spoken, because you haven't gone through that process of transformation through knowledge. You're still the person on the left side of this graph with no knowledge that thinks you know what you need to know, and you do not. This is where humanity is in the principle of correspondence. You're that middle shark. You think you're eating the more vulnerable and smaller being, and you're going to swallow that guy whole, and you're getting eaten whole. And that's how the law of correspondence works. This isn't to describe nature, ladies and gentlemen. This is not the natural world. Everybody will say, that's nature. Eat and be eaten. But wait, let me get the voice right, because I want to properly represent these people. Mark, you don't understand that nature is all about eating and being eaten. Where's my slobber rag? Literally, this is what people say nature is. Natural law is about eating other beings and being eaten by other beings. So I guess the carnists out there are just going to say, well, if we're eating other beings and space aliens come down and they just say, oh, look at the nutritional value packed in that human being. Grab them up off the ground, right in the mouth, and crunched up like fucking popcorn. Everybody would just go, me next. Because that's natural and that's normal. And it's necessary for them. They think they need to eat humans to survive. You don't think along these terms because you're just self-absorbed justifiers of wrongdoing. And you believe you've bought into the religious bullshit lie of all of the meat and dairy industries that the products of disease that they laughingly tell you is food and call food is absolutely required for life. And you're incorrect. You don't have the data. You don't have the knowledge. You don't have the grammar that you require. And this show isn't about veganism. It's not about plant-based versus carnism. I'm explaining a principle that as we do to beings that we consider somehow inferior or lesser to us, the universe will automatically arrange for us to be in that middle position of that shark. We will then have a larger being that we cannot really truly resist because we haven't learned how morality works, and that being will eat us like that. And that's not how the natural law works. I'm sorry, that's not how the natural world works in nature, meaning you have to be that being. That's how the law of correspondence works under natural law, when you're the middle being that will not accept truth. When you're that middle shark there that will not accept the truth of how morality really works in creation's laws, the natural law will generate the larger shark, and then you will be eaten. As soon as you learn morality and you say, I don't need to do this, I don't need to behave instinctively, animalistically, because I'm a higher being than an instinctive animal, then the universe doesn't generate the larger shark to eat you. You bring that situation upon yourself through karmic law. And you don't understand that. That's why you'll forever be a slave. You'll never be free. You're incapable of ever generating the conditions required for freedom because your mind is not bending to the truth of the laws, of the moral laws of reality. And as long as your mind will not bend to the truth of the moral laws of reality, your behavior will not bend to those truths. And you will forever bring completely imbalanced karma down upon yourself. You're a stupid, retarded moron tugging on a big cinder block wall with a rope right down on top of you. And you're too stupid to even understand that that's what you're doing. You're like, oh no, this is going to bring me freedom. But any second now, as soon as I get this over, I'm going to be free. You're going to get yourself dead. You're going to get yourself eaten, and that's all you've generated. You've never generated any different result than getting eaten and death. Because you're locked in a cult of death here. You're locked in the cult of death here. That's where the Messiah consciousness, the Christed and anointed consciousness, is put to death at the place of the skull, in the mind. That's what Golgotha means in biblical allegory. It means the place of the skull. Your mind is where you have spiritual soul death take place because of what you continue to believe that is wrong, and it's just religious zealotry and mental illness. That's true. I'm not going to apologize for saying it harshly, for saying it nastily, for saying it vitriolically. It's still true, and it will forever be true because it's a law within creation that you didn't make, that I didn't make, that no being made. This is how reality functions. I can see it and you can't. I'm smarter than you and you're dumb. And that's all it really comes down to. You just resist the truth because you're not smart enough to see it and understand how it works. And again, I could say that to you screaming. I could say that to you in a normal, calm voice. I could say it to you in a shit-eating New Age voice. I could say it to you in a whisper. And it doesn't matter. The tone of the truth that comes out of somebody's voice is meaningless. All that matters is the veracity, the truthfulness of the statement. Moron. But you'll never get it. You'll never understand it. You're just not smart enough. That's all it comes down to. And you don't want to work upon yourself to become more intelligent. And you can. You can. I am still to this day not telling anybody that to come to the truth is impossible, that to make humans slavery go away and to make the human condition a condition of freedom is impossible. I'm telling you, it's so highly unlikely based on the mindset that human beings have been worked into. Don't expect it. Don't expect it. I'm not telling you it can't be done, but at this point, so late in the game, it is so unlikely to be done. The odds are so against it ever happening that if you expect it, it's really very naive, childish position to take. The only thing that could possibly set that dynamic in a different direction is an immediate moral imperative by the masses of the people to really get their heads out of Satanism and to really get them right with the Creator's laws. And that's not going to happen. Let's face it. Let's face it. People are too satanically attached to their belief systems. And they revel in being wrong. They revel in being immoral. They revel in being trash. They want the doom that is coming rapidly toward them. And this is why they bring baggage into a situation of possible redemption, of possible learning, of possible growth, of possible change. They bring all the old baggage from their old cult relationship into the new relationship, which is supposed to be a relationship with the truth and a relationship with the laws of creation. And instead of trying to forge that kind of a relationship, they bring all the bricks and baggage from their past relationship into this quote-unquote movement with them. They've never made an effort to change. They've only screamed that they want things to change, but they've never turned the inner eye truly inward and said, what are the requirements for what I need to change within myself? And you've never looked at what real morality is. You've heard what I've said as some sort of intellectual curiosity and then cherry-picked what you want to say you think I'm correct about. You haven't really heard the message. Because if you heard the message, you would hear the divine truth of the matter of what morality actually is, and you would have long ago aligned your behavior to it. You have not done that. You have brought all your religious zealotry and your religious bullshit into the truth, so-called truth movement, laughingly called, into the laughingly called freedom movement with you. We have no truth movement. We have no freedom movement. We have people engaging in a war on the truth and freedom because they've brought their spiritual and intellectual baggage into the so-called movement with them, and all they're doing is recreating the same scenario over and over and over again like a repetitive cycle of doom. And they won't hear that they must change how they think. And they'll say, that's not the solution. You're wrong. It's the only solution. And the people who insist that it's something to do external to one's thought process, all of you are wrong. It's only one way. And the truth of the matter is you will never be free until you change your thinking away from religious zealotry. Religion is the only problem, and it means staying attached to a distorted, untrue belief system that you want to remain attached to because you're so deeply embedded in satanic ego. If you carry the old bricks from past relationships into new relationships, you'll end up building the same house that fell apart before. You guys can't even comprehend what it means. I literally believe that the majority of people are actually too stupid to understand this statement. They can't see the allegory. If you bring all the thoughts that created a completely fucked up, distorted, corrupt, broken world, and you say you want freedom and you don't want things to be broken, distorted, fucked up, and corrupt, and all you've done is you've brought your same religious bullshit into the new space with you, all you can create is the same thing you always got. And to think you're going to create anything new means you're a very fucking insane and possessed person. Mark Passio is not the problem, fucktards. Your distorted religious thinking is the problem, fucktards. And I can say it nice and calm to you without screaming, and it's still true. It's always been true. I haven't been off about what I'm saying. You're off about what you believe. I'm correct regarding what I'm saying. Your thought process is distorted and fucked up, and you will not challenge it because you've made it your entire identity, and to challenge the wrongness of your bullshit identity means death to you. And that's what shadow work is to do. That's what it means to do. And almost none of you have actually done that shadow work. And you can't even hear what I'm saying. I'm speaking an alien language to your level of consciousness. However, everything I said there is exactly true. No one can poke any holes in that argument because it is perfectly logically sound. And to try to argue with it is to just bring your bullshit baggage into something new that you're trying to learn and create, and you'll never get anything good out of doing that process. You have to abandon where you've been wrong. This is the shadow work that I did coming out of the satanic mindset and benevolently giving of my time and knowledge to absolutely unworthy, unappreciative people who want to harass me with their wrongness because they're so butthurt that the answer wasn't just there's a bunch of evil people trying to enslave you. The real answer is you're dumb, stupid people who have let those people enslave you because they've given you their mindset at a lower level so that the big shark can eat the smaller one. And that's what they've done, and you're too stupid to perceive it. You're too dumb to perceive that that's how you got clowned, and now you're going to get eaten. That's true. I'm not wrong. I am correct. I have been attempting to give the correct answer to distorted-minded shit apes for 17 years. And that's the reason for my anger and frustration level. And then people want to say it's because of how I eat. You all can go fuck yourselves. You don't know a thing about me, my lifestyle, what I know, what I've done, or even what I'm saying, because you're too stupid to understand it. And you're going to remain an eaten middle fish. That's your fate. Because you have a satanic, distorted worldview, and you will not do what is required to heal it. So you deserve whatever happens. You deserve the worst things in life. You should be shamed for your unwillingness to change. You should be shamed for putting your middle finger into the face of the universe and saying, I know more than all of creation put together. You're a little know-nothing child. You're all the way to the left side of the Dunning-Kruger effect chart, and you don't even understand what that means. And it's sad, and it's painful, and it's harmful. You're not good people. You're tragically terrible, evil people that are doing lots of harm to other people, staying in the belief system that you insist upon staying in. And you should look in a mirror and you should tell yourself exactly how evil you are, and you should do the shadow work to work yourself out of that shameful, pathetic condition. There it is, said calmly. Does that make it cut any less to the bone? All right. Let's pick up where we left off last week in the last 20 minutes or so with the Neo-Feminine presentation. Oh, damn, that's good. Okay. Misandry is man-hating, hatred of men. And could you imagine if I just came on the air and I just said I hate all women? I mean, could you imagine? Like, that would just be rampant, totally distorted, hatred of women, misogyny, and I would be wrong for that. But somehow the Neo-Feminism movement thinks it's okay to say, I hate men. I mean, it's unbelievable. Thank you very much, Mike. I'm going to accept that. I didn't drink it last week, but I will this week. I think I deserve that beer after that controlled tirade. So, the accelerating rise of radical neo-feminism is bringing with it open man-hatred. Misandry, the overt display of hatred and contempt toward men based solely upon their biological gender. Misandry is a blatant form of prejudice and unwarranted discrimination that is sadly gaining more societal traction by the day. Men are constantly being portrayed as bumbling idiots in media and television. More feminists are taking radical militant stances when it comes to dealing with the opposite sex, even taking this gender war at times into the realm of bitter and hateful attacks upon male children, as you see there on the right, writing all kinds of, vitriolic wording on a boy just because he's male. You hear the phrase "kill all men" in some sectors of the neo-feminist garbage trash movement, which is rapidly gaining ground. I mean, it has lost no steam since 2016 when I originally made and delivered this presentation. And misandry is going on practically unchecked. The other thing that is constantly pushed toward the masses is that masculinity is toxic. Neo-feminism seeks to abnormalize and demonize naturally masculine traits and behaviors. This manipulation tactic seeks to equate things like firearms ownership with being violent or a normal, healthy interest in sex as sexual aggressiveness. Stripped of all its euphemisms, so-called toxic masculinity is just a way for neo-feminists to say that being a man is bad. Can there be toxic masculinity? Yeah. A trait of real toxic masculinity is that men should never display emotions. Men should never get angry. They should be perfectly emotionally even-keeled at all times and places. That's not true. That's toxic masculinity. That's a distortion of what real masculinity is. When someone is wrong, a real man steps up and challenges wrongness. They challenge immorality. They challenge distorted, illogical thinking. Men don't just let error go unchallenged, and then the world becomes more and more distorted and immoral as a result of men not getting mad enough to go to a person and say, hey, you're just a bumbling fucking idiot with total trash for thoughts. There's nothing toxic about that if it's true. See, what people in this whole world really have is a hatred for truth. They don't want to accept that the self-defense principle should be understood and practiced. They don't want to accept that there should be a positive male aspect in relationships which embodies the sacred masculine dynamic of real, genuine masculinity. And having that is healthy, and not having it is unhealthy. They want to say being a man and anything that goes along with real masculinity is bad and toxic. That's untrue. That's a distorted religious point of view that is being given to people by social engineers and Satanists worldwide. And people are too stupid to exercise discernment, just like they can't have the discernment that the CIA came up with the whole flat earth nonsense. They can't have discernment that people bringing on pseudo-scientific so-called spiritualists to discuss psychobabble nonsense on big social media accounts is nonsense. They don't have discernment to discern what's reality and what's fantasy. Like, people like that won't have Mark Passio on. And I guess what? I don't care. I'm not butthurt about it. I'm just saying it's incredulous to me. It's amazing. This is what people will have on. Flat earthers and fucking pseudo-spiritualists talking nonsense, talking gibberish, quite frankly. And yes, I did pay attention. And again, the person's not, I can't even remember their name. They're not saying anything. People want to believe that they're saying something super intelligent and intelligible when they're not. It's just a bunch of gobbledygook nonsense crammed together, and they're not saying anything. I've said some of the most important, pertinent, cutting to the bone dynamics that anyone will ever spiritually hear in this one podcast alone, let alone in the thousands of hours of content that I've created. And big media influencers want nothing to do with me because I'm telling the truth about their own audience. And that's what they don't want on their show because it means lesser numbers for them. See, when I started telling the truth about what people were, my numbers drop. And guess what? I don't care. They can drop and drop and drop and drop to nothing. I can make zero money. I can go completely bankrupt and have to sell my fucking house. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to tailor the message of truth and abandon what is true and real just because money doesn't come to me because people don't like what I'm saying. I'm going to continue to say what's true even if I become a pauper. I was a pauper once. If I become a pauper again and I have no resources, so be it. Then that's what the Creator wants me to do. Maybe it wants me to go and be on the street and teach from there. I don't know. I'm not going to stop saying what's true just because it makes people like me less and make me less money. I'm still going to say what's true. I'm going to teach people challenging, emotionally deep and challenging work that is true. No matter if no one is listening. And I will tailor it to the people who are listening. And this archive will exist in perpetuity for all the dullards and all the people who are way behind the curve, all the people on the left side of the Dunning-Kruger chart, all the people who are retarded and slowed down. They have all kinds of mental impediments in their way, and they got a lot of catching up to do. This content will be here forever. But it doesn't mean I'm going to sweet talk. It doesn't mean I'm going to excuse bad behavior and thought. It doesn't mean I'm going to cherry pick what truths I want to tell people. I'm going to say what's true. That's my charge from the Creator of the universe. And I have followed it. I follow that charge now, and I will always continue to follow it because I'm an actual good person. I'm not a pseudo good person that believes themselves to be a good person when they're actually a piece of trash. I'm genuinely a good person, capital G, capital P. So toxic masculinity is invented nonsense just to try to make the qualities of genuine masculinity and manliness be perceived as bad to the cult members in the Satanic Neo-Feminism movement. Man-spreading and man-slamming, and you could add mansplaining into this. You know, the idea that, because men sit with their knees wider than women because they have balls and a penis, they have a penis and testicles, that's somehow disrespectful, and they should crush their genitals to sit the way a woman wants them to sit. Other thing that you see is this idea of mansplaining. A guy can't explain something to the opposite sex that happens to be true, or they call it mansplaining. No, it's just saying words that are true that perhaps someone else doesn't want to hear, just like I've been doing. I haven't been mansplaining. I've been speaking the truth of how creation works to ignorant people. That's all. It's not mansplaining. That's a completely prejudiced idea. And then you have man slamming, which is women are just going to say, I own the street, I own the space of the street, and if a guy is coming and walking in similar space to me, I'll just completely slam into him. He'll have to walk around me. We won't try to mutually get out of each other's way. I see this all the time on the street. Women who believe this nonsense believe they've been taught by the neo-feminist movement, I own the terrain, and all men will move for me like I'm some fucking royalty coming toward them. I've heard women say it. I've from their lips to my ears, without them realizing I was overhearing what they were saying, say to other women, I'm never getting out of the way for any guy. He's coming down the street, I'm going to walk right into him. I've heard it said, I've heard it spoken aloud in my presence. And they think they're somehow doing something good that's elevating women and their perspective in the world. I mean, could you imagine? What you're making people think is that you're just ghetto trash, because that's what you are. That's what you are. You're just lowlives when you behave like that. You're not elevating women onto some pedestal above men. You're just proving you're an inconsiderate, disrespectful, lowlife scumbag. That's all. That's all any of this behavior is. It's just unbelievable. Again, it's unimaginable that the social engineers worked people's minds into this condition. I have to stand back in awe, and I have to offer them a hand to shake and say, my God, you're very worthy opponents. And I would have imagined it possible. You played your hand so well that all I can do is congratulate you, even though I know you're sick, evil lunatics. but I can't disrespect you as an opponent. And that's where they have people. The idea of white knighting is jumping to a woman's defense no matter how wrong she is, especially when a male is trying to explain to a woman how completely off base and out of alignment with reality their distorted thought process is. And the white knight, just because he wants to try to get in the woman's pants, and that's all he thinks about because he doesn't think about anything logically with his brain, he only thinks with his dick, jumps into battle like the white knight on the horse to try to make the woman feel safe against the evil guys, daring to say that the woman might be wrong, and male neo-feminists, not just about equality, really believing that women should be elevated to a place above men in society. And that's what they want. They want inequality. This isn't about equality under natural law. It's about rulership and ego and Satanism and distorted thought. That's all it's ever been about. And again, this topic is so misunderstood. This topic is so poorly understood. It's the same thing that I'm talking about in the whole truth movement. The reason people are in such completely deranged mindsets and out of right relationship with each other is because they don't understand what social engineering has done to completely distort human thought. You're not studying the techniques of social engineering and Satanism. Listen to the words of Nicholas Schreck in the interview he did in 1989, or 88 or 89. He was telling people, we are manipulating people for our own purposes. We are injecting ideas to make people think a certain way so that they are easier to control for our purposes. That's what neo-feminism is. It's distortion of thought to bring about selected breeding. And we're going to get to that. Well, we've already gotten to that. We're going to reiterate that. Social ostracism of males among the community of females. Most men, quote unquote, this is socially engineered men, will refuse to stand up to the conditioned women in our society and confront them on both the fallacies they've been conditioned to believe and their associated unacceptable social behavior. Men will do this because they don't want to be socially and sexually ostracized by women in modern communities. So they'll allow women to continue to think the distorted thoughts and the distorted beliefs of neo-feminism just because they're thinking with their dick and they imagine there's some future chance they're going to get them into the bedroom. And so they'll just take all of their distorted mental aberrations and their completely unacceptable and even immoral behaviors. Hitler said, Adolf Hitler was one of the social engineers along with all of the other occultists in the Third Reich that really knew how women's minds have to be distorted to get the minds of the men and the children of society, and what they really needed to be told to really get them onto the side of the Satanists and absolute sick control freaks that were running their society. Adolf Hitler, in his book Mein Kampf, wrote, "We should allow and encourage women to act as stupid as imaginable, and then denounce men as faggots and misogynists if they dare to try to criticize the woman's stupidity." Boy, if this isn't the perfect example of social engineering, I don't know what is. This is the exact method by which the modern Satanists have formulated neo-feminism and sold it to the public. You make women have the most distorted, deranged, diseased thought process imaginable, and then you get men completely afraid of the social ostracization that will result if they don't go along with their totally distorted religious views of the women's completely distorted neo-feminist religious zealot views. Think about what he's saying. Encourage women to act stupid. Then say men are faggots and or misogynists if they criticize their stupid thought process. instead of actually correcting the distortions in their thought process like I have been doing. No, I'll be socially ostracized. And so fucking what? I don't care if I'm socially ostracized. I don't care if I'm poor. I don't care if I'm hated. I stand in the truth, and it's the only shielding I need. Even if horrible things happen to my physical body, I don't care. I'm standing in the truth of the shielding and the armor of creation. And that's the only protection against any form of evil that I need, plus the 45 at my waistband. That's it. That's all I need. So, men have to stop worrying about being socially ostracized by women. Just speak the truth. Stop giving in because you want to get in the pants of the women who believe in neo-feminism. Number one, they'd be terrible partners anyway because their minds are so fucked up. They believe in complete, distorted religious nonsense. Why are you worried of what you're going to say to them that might ostracize them from you sexually? Who cares? What's more important, having sex or being correct and standing within the truth? I think sex is an important part of one's health, makeup, and personal makeup, personally. That doesn't mean that I'm going to give in to something that is false and untrue and completely distorted just to get it. I'd rather go without than do that. I'm going to stand in the truth first and foremost because that creates any goodness for me. Number one, I know what creates positive karma versus negative karma. The abandonment of the truth to placate a woman just to get in her pants is going to create way more negative karma for you than saying the truth and creating social ostracism. Stop being fearful of this dynamic, throw it back in their face and say, oh yeah, you're ostracized from my social circle because you engage in totally distorted religious zealotry. That you're being sold by Satanism, social engineers, and fascists, quite frankly. Communists and fascists sell this to the public because they're trying to control society and turn it into a slave pen. And you need look no further than the words of Adolf Hitler. And you'll see where neo-feminism truly came out of. Political correctness, controlling your speech because of being afraid to offend these mental midget morons. Political correctness is a method of limiting free speech. Many women have been conditioned by the neo-feminist agenda to censor those around them, not to talk about these gender-related issues and other important political issues. Men have been conditioned by the neo-feminism agenda to censor themselves when they're speaking to women because they fear the risk of being ostracized by most women if they speak out. Self-censorship. This is what most men in our society are doing. They're letting the dumbest of the dumb tell them how to behave. They're letting the most religiously diseased through social engineering and Satanism tell men how to speak. Imagine. You won't say what's true because you're worried about being socially ostracized by women. And then in the next breath, you actually want to use the term man to describe yourself? You want to even use the term male to describe the essence of who you are? You couldn't spell the fucking word men or male or man. You couldn't spell any of those words. If those were the only 3 words in a spelling bee, you'd come in last, dunce. Okay? That's the truth of the matter. You don't know what masculinity is at all. You don't know what healthy masculinity is. If you did, you'd be challenging neo-feminism like I am. You don't even understand that it's going on. You don't even understand how these social engineers operate. They own your mind, in addition to the women that you're bowing down to and going on the fucking leash for. You're a little puppy on a leash, boy. You're a little unthinking puppy on a leash thinking with his dick. That's not a man. That's an owned puppy. And that's what most men are. You won't say the truth because of who you'll ostracize yourself from. And you know what that is? That's weakness. That's garbage. That's bringing on all kinds of negative karma upon yourself. That's not putting skin in the spiritual war. The MGTOW and MRA movements, this stands for Men Going Their Own Way and Men's Rights Activists, lacking the causal factors and the solutions to the problem. Men's movements like MGTOW, Men Going Their Own Way, often portray women as evil, flawed by their nature, and solely responsible for the downfall of humankind. They often push an erroneous and divisive belief that the current condition of the female mindset is the result of quote-unquote female nature. Again, not understand anything regarding that human nature is programmability and that they are programmed by the social engineers and Satanists, when in fact this mindset is a product of complex, lifelong social engineering that affects the vast majority of women and most certainly is not the nature of the female of our species. And I think, folks, that's about going to be all the time we have on this edition of What on Earth is Happening. I think that that's a good place to leave this for now. I'll pick up from that slide next week. I think we have, 3 weeks to go before the end of What on Earth is Happening for good. And again, maybe if I feel like coming off of a hiatus at some future point in the future, maybe I will. But, June 23rd is going to be the wrap-up. This year, this season, and for the series of What on Earth is Happening, at least for now. We'll see you here next week for a continuation of Unholy Feminine Extended.